What you see what she's trying to do? She's trying to use the derogatory.
Man, your comprehension skills are bad.
She's trying to use the negative.
You J.L. Smith, man.
Bro, I really don't think you understand.
You shot the wrong basket.
I really don't think you understand, bro. I really don't. It's like this, for example. It's the same as this. It's the same as this, right?
Oh, is it on?
Yeah.
Oh, Charlamagne the God.
Andrew Schultz.
We are the Brilliant Idiots. Sorry, we had a lively discussion going.
Well, real quick, today's episode of Brilliant Idiots is brought to you by Talkspace. Talkspace is the online therapy company that believes therapy should be affordable, confidential, and convenient. Enjoy unlimited messaging to your licensed therapist for as little as $32 a week. Just go to Talkspace.com/idiots to get $30 off your first month, or download the Talkspace app and use the coupon IDIOTS. Talkspace, therapy for how we live. So who needs some therapy?
No, that's right. Let's introduce the guest first.
Oh yeah, my bad.
This is a good guy.
We're in it.
This is a good guy to bring right into this conversation. Yeah. He is a New York Times best-selling author. I read his book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was hating on his book a little bit, and I'll tell you why.
Oh yeah, he hated
his
you.
His name is
minute,
Mark
bro.
Manson. Okay, he has a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. This is a great read. The reason I was hating on it is because when I was working on my first book, which is out now, Black Privilege Opportunity Comes to Those Who Create It, my original concept was, I don't give a fuck, and neither should you, a self-help guide on how not to give a fuck. And I talk about in the book how all the publishers and everybody's like, oh, that's not a good idea. You'll never get great placement in bookstores. Walmart won't carry you. All of this bullshit. So then I see you started promoting your book, and I'm like, well, this guy Mark Manson has his book out, and it's doing great. After the fact. So I used you after the fact to be like, y'all didn't know what the fuck y'all was talking about.
I heard.
Yes.
Well, what's funny is they're right. Like, a lot of bookstores won't carry it. Walmart won't carry it.
Who gives a shit, though?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no books at Walmart.
Who buys books at Walmart?
Yeah. Well, you definitely can't give a fuck.
No.
Like, you can't be bothered at all. Like, Walmart got to be like, you can't have your book. You be like, all right, fam, whatever. You do what you got to do.
But I walked into Barnes & Noble. I remember taking a picture of it. I walked into Barnes & Noble's, and I saw the bestseller section, and I was like, well, where the fuck is my book at? But I wasn't paying attention. I was so focused on that one shelf that I didn't notice the shelf right next to it. And it was 2 books on that shelf, mine and yours. So I sent the picture, and I sent it to, my people was like, see, y'all really were wrong on this one. All right? Because you sold a lot of books.
Yeah, man. It's over 1 million copies now.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Shit.
Yeah. Wow.
How long has it been out?
9 months.
And you get a certain amount of money per copy?
No.
Oh, fuck, man. They got you on a 360 deal? What happened,
by
bro?
absurd, you mean I can, buy a Coke per copy? Yeah.
Now, you get bonuses and shit, though?
Yeah, some.
Wait, $1 per copy is $1 million.
Yeah.
So you get at least $1 per copy. I want to know what kind of deal. You have the Mariah Carey deal, or do you have, the Lil Yachty deal?
I don't know. I don't know how.
He doesn't know who Little Yachty is.
Yeah.
You had him with the Mariah.
Damn it.
It's like, I haven't thought about Mariah Carey in like 12 years. All right.
Do you own your publishing? I guess that's what we want to know.
I think technically no, but that's how every book deal works.
So these book guys are hustlers, kind of, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you got to sell your soul a little bit, but like they give you access to a wide network and distribution. So, you kind of like, it's a necessary evil.
You get a good advance.
Yeah, I mean,
a good advance. You get bonus. Well, I got a good advance. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I have no complaints.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like recording an album. Like you can't, you can't just like take their money and own everything at the same time.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be.
You stick them up on the next one though.
Do you think that it will become similar to the music business where there'll be independent book publisher, not even publisher, independent people will publish their own books
They're doing it now.
Yeah.
Really?
Hell yeah.
And eventually would they be able to go to Barnes & Noble and say, yo, listen, I've sold 50,000 copies on my own. Why don't you buy X amount from me? Will there be a Chance the Rapper?
Right now you
books?
can't really do that, and so tons of people self-publish right now, but the problem is that because everybody can self-publish, most of what is self-published is just garbage, right. And so the big bookstores and distributors still don't trust it, and they have like long legacies with these publishing companies, so they trust what comes out of the publishing company,
right.
But it's like if some jerk off just like puts something on Amazon and sells a bunch of copies, like Barnes & Noble's not really going to pay attention.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah. Really?
Now, I'm glad you're here because the book is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. We have a guy in here who does not give a fuck, and it is so crazy to watch and so funny at the same time. His name is Andrew Schultz.
That's right. How you doing, everybody?
This guy he hates Muslims, but he's a jihad bomber himself.
First of all, my name is Asalama Andy. I actually care about the Muslim community. Okay, I reckon. Do you know when Ramadan ended?
Yes, it ended in I don't remember.
Exactly.
But I remember
this fake ass Muslim,
I don't remember the exact
this
date.
fake motherfucker always praise Allah. This praise
So what's the
Allah.
exact date? When did it end?
It ended when it needed to.
Shut the fuck up.
That's when it ended.
See what I'm saying? This is him.
Anyway, God needed it.
He doesn't know either. I know it ended.
It ended when God wanted that shit to end, bro. That's the answer.
Crazy.
Do you have no faith? That's the problem with you.
This is what we was arguing about. Not arguing about, but I just find it. I'm telling you, Andrew Schultz is J.R. Smith. It's a shame J.R. Smith doesn't play for the Knicks anymore.
Listen, I'm not going to let you slander me. I'm not going to let you slander me here. This is the problem. Charlamagne gets in bed with these like pseudo-intellectuals.
He's
right?
Fox News me right
and
now.
he wants to. Well, I don't know where you're at, and he wants to seem like he knows what they know, so he just lets them talk. Like he'll call me out on my shit because he knows. He knows he could do that. Then we can get into a debate. But he'll have these guys who are like pseudo-intellectuals on. They'll yap their shit, and he'll just let it go because he doesn't know if he can actually challenge them just yet. And then they'll go and spout off some dumb shit like with what Linda did. And now he got to defend it because he's in bed with them. You don't got to defend people when they fuck up.
Let me tell you just between me and Andrew.
Yeah.
You know how Andrew asked me about Ramadan just now? And I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, you didn't say you
then when
don't
I
know.
asked
You
him-
didn't say you knew.
No.
You said you knew,
No.
and I said when, and you're like, actually, I don't know.
I don't know, but I can admit that.
Right.
He didn't admit it.
Right.
He don't know. He just asked the question. Which
Actually,
really
I do know. Actually, I do know when Ramadan ended.
When is it?
Day of the Gay Pride Parade in New York. Boom, motherfucker, let's go.
I still don't know that date.
Let's go. That shit was beautiful,
No,
man.
it's not, but we don't know the date. But this is the thing.
I do know the date. I know for a fact. Day of the Gay Pride Parade in New York.
Now, are
It was
those two
lit.
things coincidental?
Oh, absolutely.
Or did they plan that?
Oh, dude, they were starving to look good for the Gay Pride Parade. That's, you know what I mean? They gotta have their shirts off.
all those gay Muslims gotta come
gonna
out,
look
you know?
shredded at the parade.
Let me tell you what the latest Brilliant Idiots debate is.
All right.
Linda Sarsour tweets out.
Sarsour.
Linda Sarsour, you're right. Linda Sarsour tweets out, at Jake Tapper joins the ranks of the alt-right to target me online. Welcome to the party.
Say it again. Read it again so everybody can get that in.
At Jake Tapper joins the ranks of the alt-right to target me online. Welcome to the party.
Now let's give some context for the discussion.
Mark, when you hear that statement, what does that mean to you?
Well, when you first read it earlier, I assumed what you thought, which is that she's just saying this guy is like the alt-right, doing the same thing as the alt-right people. But I can see it's very ambiguous. What did Jake Tapper say?
I don't even know.
So
that's the important.
So the important part is this. So Linda Sarsour and the Women's March were tweeting some things in support of Assata Shakur. Assata Shakur is currently, I guess, I wouldn't say exiled.
She went to Cuba.
She went to Cuba
because she was accused of killing a New Jersey state trooper.
She was convicted of killing a New Jersey state trooper.
Okay.
So she went to jail for murder. They put her actually in a men's jail, which was viewed as a kind of way of like using sexual assault against her to punish her for her crimes.
Jeez.
I don't know the extent of that. That's
Sure.
just what I'm getting from reading a couple tweets. She finds a way to break out of the prison and then flees to Cuba. Right, so she's a person who broke out of prison, which is illegal, and now she's in another country, also illegal, and she's been convicted of killing somebody. So the Women's March and Sarsour, on her birthday, start defending her and start celebrating her.
They were saying happy birthday, Assata Shakur, and you have to understand why.
When you kill cops, you don't say happy birthday to people. You just leave it out of the equation. Sit this one out.
That depends if you think they killed the cop or not. If they don't think if they don't think she killed the cop, and she was being wrongfully accused, then why can't they wish her happy birthday?
Let me ask you a question. Would the Women's March wish Mike Tyson a happy birthday?
What do you mean?
Mike Tyson's convicted of raping somebody. You think that they'd throw a happy birthday in his direction?
Why not? I don't know, but
I don't know,
why
because
not?
women don't like rape.
It depends if you think they were guilty of the crime they were accused
so look,
of.
we don't
It's
want to
just
get
that
too far from the talk. We don't want to get too far from the topic. But essentially, this is somebody who was convicted. This, in my personal situation, regardless if you think they did it or not,
So you defend people who
is
get
somebody
stuff all the time.
Who I defend?
Just people
That's
in general.
That's a big statement. Who?
It's just people in general.
Just back it up. The statement. If you can't back it up, don't claim
Just
it.
people in general. I'm sure that I can get on this podcast and even me myself find somebody who's been convicted of a crime that we've defended.
I mean, I don't think that Tyson raped that girl.
Okay, but it's some people who do.
But I'm saying
people
if
will
you're
get mad
gonna
at
make
you.
that accusation
Or even
for me.
Tupac, Kobe, Tyson.
Well, Kobe wasn't convicted.
He got arrested.
But bro,
He got arrested and accused.
Paid a lot of money.
He got arrested and accused.
But how often do you say we got to stop convicting people in the court of public opinion before they're convicted in court, so that you can't back up on that
you're telling me there's
statement?
no such thing as a false conviction?
Of course there's false convictions.
Okay, so
I'm not saying that, but this is a situation right here.
Okay.
Well, it's not like Assata Shakur was a law-abiding citizen beforehand, right?
Why wasn't she a law-abiding citizen?
My understanding was that she was
was a
already
protester.
wanted by the cops,
She was a protester.
but not for protest.
She was a revolutionary protester.
I have to look more into it, so I don't want to speak up. But maybe Chris, you can look up some stuff. What the back history is.
Chris, get on the mic, Chris.
Son, you produce these things. Come on.
Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of controversy surrounding her case. She was accused of a lot of violent acts as the head of, she was called, I think, like the mother hen of the Black Panther Party or something like that. The flip side is we also know over the last, 25, 30 years, it's come out that the FBI with Camel Pro was targeting the Black Panther Party. So it kind of falls into that whole debate, which is, she's accused of everything, and it looks like she probably was involved in a lot of that. We also know that the FBI was targeting them and prodding them and agitating it. So it's kind of like, it's a gray area. Like the fact that she was convicted is not a gray area. That whole era and the Black Panther Party is open to a lot of debate and interpretation.
Look, she was fighting for justice. That's what she wanted. The same thing that Linda, Tamika, Carmen, and everybody else is fighting for now.
And in your fight for justice, you don't kill police officers.
But that's once again, that's assuming you really believe she killed the police officers.
Right. And even
a lot of people feel like she was falsely convicted.
Even in those tweets, she said, even in the tweets that the Women's March put out, they said she took a more militant approach. We do not take that militant approach.
I didn't see that, so I can't comment.
Can we all agree that you can criticize this Linda woman without necessarily being part of the alt-right? Like, you can criticize.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's completely reasonable.
Well, it's not reasonable to her, and it's not reasonable to, I assume, Charlemagne, because what's happening here in this situation is Jake Tapper saw that they were defending Assata Shakur. Jake Tapper views, I guess, Assata Shakur, and this is someone who was on CNN. So before we go all right with that, that's absurd. But no news media is more leftist than CNN. So he goes, it's wrong that you accuse this person. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm wrong that you celebrate this person who's a known or is convicted for killing a cop, right? Immediately, she goes, you've joined the ranks of the alt-right. Now, she's using the word...
you say the whole statement. That's not what she said.
You joined... What is it?
And by the way, the reason I hate that statement, because I've seen it about me. I've seen it about him.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen him say, Andrew Schultz has joined the ranks of Tommy Lauren and Richard Spencer.
And it's wrong
Milo
to say.
Yeah.
It's wrong to say.
There's no reason to bring it up.
Well, there is, right? So the reason is they bring it up and say the statement. So
join the ranks of the alt-right that target me online. Now, if she would have ended it with join the ranks of the alt-right, that means Jake Tapper has joined the ranks of the alt-right.
Absolutely.
When she says target me online, that means that he has just joined in with a bunch of people who are attacking her for whatever reason.
Sure. But she specifically uses the word alt-right, right?
Well, those are the people that are coming out of the most.
Because the alt-right has weight to it, right?
Yeah,
just like
it pisses people off.
Exactly. Just like these super feminists use the word rape culture because the word rape has weight to it. They could use the word sexual harassment culture, but that doesn't have weight. If you go, these guys are part of sexual harassment culture, you're going to see a lot of guys like, yeah, I guess I am part of sexual harassment. Rape culture? Whoa, don't put it. There are other people who disagree with Linda Sarsour. For example, there are Zionists, people who are very pro-Israel, who disagree with Linda's viewpoints on Israel, right? She didn't say Jake Tapper joins the Jews that believe in Israel. It joins the ranks of the Jews that believe in the state of Israel and attacks me online. And she didn't say it for a specific reason, because she knows the weight of using the term alt-right. And that's why it's used against me. That's why calling you PC the God or whatever is used against you.
What did Jake call her out on, though?
On the Assata Shakur thing, on supporting Assata Shakur. A lot of people call her out on this.
If majority of people, and I don't even know who really claims alt-right, but if the majority of people who are coming at her for celebrating Assata Shakur are members of the alt-right, then what she said makes perfect sense.
But it's not the majority of people.
I don't know who the majority of people are. Do you?
I don't know the breakdown by numbers, but
she probably knows better than us.
I know. Listen, she's using this for a specific targeted goal. That's what this is about. She is doing what the left a lot of times do, and I'm sure the right does. You make somebody radioactive so that you can dismiss them. Hey, you're a rapist. You're a racist. I don't have to talk to you anymore, listen to your opinions anymore,
but that's
or anything.
What these people do to Linda, though.
Well, yeah, of course. And it's wrong on both sides.
So you would think that she would understand that it's wrong to do. Like, this is no different, in my personal opinion, than when Trump would do, and I tweeted that earlier, but when Trump does the whole thing was, okay, this guy Marco Rubio has a good point against me. Well, I'm just going to call him Little Marco.
What's the difference
so now people dismiss him.
Well, if you say join in the ranks of leftist liberals targeting me online.
Perfect, great.
What you mean? It's the same thing.
Yeah, but there's
I guess you don't feel like it's any negative connotation.
Yeah, they're not racist scumbags.
Yeah. There's definitely a negative connotation with alt-right.
We know there's negative connotation, and she's politicizing. And the problem with that is you normalize the alt-right. So the second we start viewing the alt-right as...
How do you make it radioactive and normalize it?
Well, by calling it Jake Tapper, right?
What do you mean?
So by calling Jake Tapper an alt-right, right? Now, what if all of a sudden we start to view the alt-right as Jake Tappers? Now when somebody's...
No. So what he's saying is, like, if you go around and you call people racist, like, all the time... over anything, then the word racist stops meaning anything.
There you go.
Because it's you're no longer actually pointing out like really, really bad instances of racism. You're just like calling everybody racist. And so it becomes normal almost to be called racist. And so it loses its power.
I'm gonna tell you what we're doing right now. We're digging way too deep in this because I personally don't feel like she was saying he joined the alt-right. She said like if me and you are clowning on somebody, if me and you start clowning on anybody in this room, and then Mark joins in on the clowning, they're gonna say Mark joined in the ranks of Andrew and Charlemagne clowning whoever. Sure. That don't mean he's a brilliant idiot.
It's true.
Okay. Yeah, but does brilliant idiots have an incredibly negative connotation?
No, it's simple. I don't know. Like,
no, it's not that simple because you're not understanding it.
Can I like jump in here a second and make a comment that like this exemplifies why the internet is so bad for political argument because things are so vague. Like this woman, Linda, she probably gets tweeted at by like alt-right racists
all day long.
All day, every day. And then you get some random guy who maybe has a legitimate criticism, but it's like mashed between 20 racist tweets. And so she's just like, this guy, Jake Tapper, he's another one of them. You know?
But she knows Jake Tapper.
Okay. But I'm just saying that like, it's situation like this is why the internet's so bad for stuff like this because you don't get to see the nuance in people's positions. It's easy to stereotype people, just label them something really bad and just dismiss them.
It does make you question things sometimes though because say I was Jake Tapper and I still don't know exactly what Jake Tapper said about Linda. Somebody should look that up while we're sitting there having the conversation. But if I'm having a conversation about Linda and then Linda says Jake Tapper has joined the ranks of the alt-right, by roasting me online or whatever it is, I want to see my rhetoric. Well, let me see my rhetoric and see if my rhetoric is anything like these guys are spewing. Because if it is, I might want to change my rhetoric. Yeah. Maybe, depending on what the conversation is.
So here's the thing. It's possible that an alt-right person, right, and Jake Tapper can have the same opinion on a certain topic. For example, you would never say, Charlemagne the God joins the ranks of Golden State Warrior Nazi fans in celebrating the Golden State Warriors' victory.
Somebody could say that.
Yeah, but
if it's a bunch of Nazi guys that are Golden State fans and they got the swastikas on their arms and all that shit and Golden State jerseys, and I got my arms around them, whoa! Like,
I don't know why you'd have their arms on, but
because I didn't see the swastika.
But here's a perfect.
I didn't know they were Nazis.
Exactly. Right. First of all,
some things transcend
there'd
race.
There'd be some horrible Nazis if they're celebrating with you. But so another perfect example is Mark Manson and Andrew Schultz joined the ranks of Nazis in their appreciation of bread and sausages. And it's like, well, I guess Nazis are German. They probably have an affinity for bread and sausages because that's part of German culture. But what we know about Nazis is not bread and sausages, right? It's killing Jews and taking over the world. So that is the problem. She's using the power of the word alt-right or the power of the word Nazi here or the power of the word rape in rape culture to affect a sentence and essentially shame and make radioactive Jake Tapper.
Well, Jake Tapper's original tweet was, Shakur is a cop killer fugitive in Cuba. this ugly
Facts?
We don't know if it's facts.
Well, she's in Cuba. She is a fugitive, and
Yeah,
she was convicted of killing a cop.
Shakur is a cop, but we don't know if she killed the cop. Let me finish the statement. Shakur is a cop killer fugitive in Cuba. This ugly sentiments from Linda Sarsour and Dyke Marchi. I don't know who that is.
Dyke Mark Shy, Chicago. Dyke Mark
Shy. Any progressives out there condemning this, and that's when Linda replied, "At Jake Tapper joins the ranks of the alt-right to target me online. Welcome to the party."
I feel like you don't want to understand this, so I don't want to harp too much on it. But I think when you listen back to it,
I don't think alt-right was necessary in that reply. You know what I'm saying? But
that's all I'm trying to say. But I
don't think she meant Jake Tapper was a member of the alt-right, but I don't think alt-right was necessary in that reply. She could have just said
I think that's
the
fair.
millions of people condemning
she didn't
me
mean
online.
that he was alt-right, but she's using the word alt-right to affect him negatively and like make him radioactive.
I'm with you. That's why I clowned you when you tweeted. But time out. That's why I clowned you when you tweeted. So according to Linda Sarsour, Jake Tapper is alt-right.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a reach.
Okay, fine. I'll delete that tweet. I'll delete that tweet.
See, all Schultz needs is a little time to work it through, and the point will be made.
Son,
like you said, looking at rhetoric.
We both need a little time. You need a little time to come back to where we were.
I had to see what Jake said.
This is why I don't use Twitter.
You don't ever? For real? Really?
I hate Twitter, man. Because 140 characters, you can't make like shit like this happens.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't make conversations like this about like somebody who's convicted for killing a cop, and you have like women's rights marchers, and you have like race debate. Like you can't, in 140 characters, you can't do justice to these.
And it's too much of a gray area when it's just like arguing about things like George Zimmerman. You know what I'm saying? Yes, God. George Zimmerman was found not guilty, but that doesn't mean he
didn't do it.
Yeah. Like, it's a lot of gray area.
We know that he did it. He was just found not guilty of murder, but like we know he killed him.
Yeah.
So
but
that's no question.
But it doesn't mean Trayvon attacked him with a brick and all that other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't think that the Asada was guilty of just shooting a gun up in the air and the bullet ended up landing on the police officer and then killed him. I don't think that's what they were engaged in a shootout.
I never looked into details of
that's fine.
Of the case.
Whatever. I don't want to harp too long on it. This is Assalamu Andy, man. I'm a new man. Okay, you know what I mean.
Ramadan's over. Like
exactly.
Turned over a new leaf.
You know, I gotta say one thing though and I'm gonna do 6 days of Ramadan next year.
This guy, 6 days. What the fuck is wrong with him, yo?
No, I'm being serious.
He's gonna work up. He's gonna work up every year.
Well, no, there's this thing. Well, there's this thing in Islam where it's like you do Ramadan, right? And I think 4 more times throughout the year you're supposed to do a 6-day fast. So
I fast all the time.
Yeah, when you sleep.
Some of it started with because I used to do Ramadan all the time. You know what I'm saying? But
you ain't never done fucking Ramadan.
You crazy?
Fucking lying piece of shit.
My brother, I used to do youth ministry at Muhammad Mosque number 38 in Columbia, South Carolina.
You did Ramadan?
Absolutely.
So I want to know. While you were selling drugs.
I was way past selling drugs by the time I was
How do you think he didn't eat that long? Like,
you just eat at sundown. Like it's not crazy.
On some real shit with finish what you're saying.
No, I still fast a lot now. Like I fasted this week when I come off vacation.
Yeah.
This is our first week back from vacation. Yeah, this week I did a 3-day fast this week. But I eat when the sun goes down. I just eat like meat and vegetables. But during the day, all I do is water. But when I used to do Ramadan, I did nothing.
Yeah, no water.
So I would do Ramadan hard body.
Right.
So it's just like I think fasting is good for you.
Not only is it good for you, and I'm telling you why I'm going to do the 6-day one and then hopefully eventually build up. But I realized this outside of Comedy Cellar, right next door, there's a place called Mamoun's Falafel, right? And a lot of times you see, Muslim dudes that are hanging out there, and every time a homeless guy would kind of walk up or anything like that, you'd see the 3 or 4, Muslim dudes. They'd always go, "Hey, you hungry? You need anything like that?" And I'm like, why is there this incredible empathy towards somebody who might be hungry? It's like if you don't eat or drink for 40 days a year, all of a sudden you start to empathize with these people who don't get to drink or eat whenever they want.
Yeah.
And I don't have that because I never starved in my whole life. I had been great. I don't eat for 6 hours. I start complaining. I got a fucking headache.
Oh, yeah.
And even greater than that, it increases your discipline because if you can not do natural things like eat and drink for long periods of time, then you can like not do cigarettes, not have sex
willpower,
with a strange woman. It just increases your willpower.
So I think it's a really beautiful thing to at least have empathy for people. I want to get some more empathy for people in those situations and understanding. And that's the idea of it, right? The idea is, hey, there could be somebody really struggling and you want to know what that feels like. And also, like, from my understanding, if you go to the mosque, there's always like food and drink there. It's like this community center, especially during Ramadan. There are people from the community that are like putting food, giving like spreads and that kind of stuff. It's like a celebration. That being said, Ramadan now is the hardest Ramadan because it's late. It's in the summer. So you can't eat during the day. Yeah, and the days are long as fuck. Back in the day when you were doing it,
in the fall.
It's in the fall. So 4:30, it's dark out. You don't eat from like 7 in the morning to 4:30.
Why does it move?
I don't know.
It's just with the lunar calendar.
Oh, the Islam calendar. It's a different calendar.
Yeah, right? Lunar calendar, right? So it shifts a little bit. So right now in the summer, you got dudes that aren't eating from like 6 in the morning or drinking to like 8 at night.
And it's hot as balls.
Hot as balls, man. Yeah. It's a wild thing. So I'm into it. I'm very supportive. Next year, I'm going to try 6 days, and then after that, we'll go a little longer.
Well, I want to talk to Mark.
That being said, don't kill us when we go to London. I think that's really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, August 5th will be in London. What's the name of the festival?
Committed. You know what I mean?
What's the name of the festival?
Shout Out Live Festival.
Shout Out Live Festival. You better start bigging up Linda a little bit more. You've been coming at Linda the past couple weeks.
Listen, I'm coming at Linda specific.
Ain't no such thing as specifically.
It is
specifically. We all wear the same jersey.
First of all, I just want to say, you just said specifically beautifully, bro.
What else am I supposed to say?
I don't know, but you just said it no lisp, nothing. That's a hard word. That shit was beautiful.
If we in London and 3 women approach us in hijabs, I'm going to say assalamu alaikum, and I'm going to say, y'all want to have a conversation with them alone? Just give me some time.
No, I'm going to say, guys, I'm a little tired because I've been fasting, and I think we should just all come together and pray. I think that's what it's really going to be about.
Let's talk about this book, man, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I love so many different chapters, but Mark really doesn't give a fuck. The first chapter, you say, don't try.
Yeah, man.
Break that down a little bit.
What I talk about is that there's this weird thing in life where, everybody knows, like, just in casual social situations, like we all know that person that like tries too hard. Like if you try too hard to be cool, then you're just lame. Like
Absolutely.
If you try to be really happy, then you actually just make yourself less happy. And so there's all these like weird kind of backwards things that go on in our life. And so the whole chapter is just about that. If you try not to be angry all the time, you just make yourself more angry.
Yeah, that's why you have to just enjoy the moment and just be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have to be water in life. Like that. Like, I think people approach situations and they approach different people the way they think this person wants them to be instead of just being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So how do you balance trying to be a better person, because this is self-improvement, right, and not trying?
Right.
Like, that's difficult, right?
Well, it's like the old Master Yoda thing. It's like, do or do not. There is no try. Not to be like super cheesy.
Either you do or you don't.
No,
It's either you're doing it or you're not. So don't sit around saying like, oh, I'm trying to be happier. It's like, you know what? Either be happy or don't. And it's fine either way. Like,
I don't even like using the word try.
Yeah.
I like to say strive, because that means at least I'm doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. You're in the process.
Yeah, I'm in the process.
Moving.
Yeah, I'm striving towards that. I'm striving to be a better person. I'm, striving to get in shape.
Like try is it's so often like it's an excuse word, Yeah. It's like people sitting on the couch eating Doritos like, well, I'm trying to get another job, but, Ricky Lake is on TV.
Yeah. You're full of shit. Yeah. I love chapter 2 too. You say happiness is a problem.
Yeah.
This was important to me. It did a lot for me, because I was like,
wait, what does that mean? What do you mean?
Go ahead, explain.
Yeah, so basically what I like, the premise of the whole chapter is that no matter how successful you are, no matter where you go, what you do, life is always going to suck a little bit. Like, there's always going to be problems.
Right.
If you get insanely rich and famous, you're going to have problems. If you're broke and poor, you're going to have problems. The only thing that changes is the nature of the problems and the quality of the problems. And what I argue is that most people, they assume that to be happy, they have to get rid of all their problems. They have to have a problem-free life.
No such thing.
Yeah. And what I say is like, that doesn't exist. The key to happiness is actually solving problems, or what you said, like strive, like that process of like upgrading your problems from a really bad problem to a better one. Like one
upgrading your problems is great. Okay.
Yeah, it's like one example I use in the book is I say, like Warren Buffett, he has money problems. A homeless guy also has money problems. It's just Warren Buffett's money problems are much, much better. And so that's
stock options or the stocks are down
right
percent. It's
exactly.
still an issue to him, but right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he still stresses. He still wakes up in the morning. He's like, oh crap, I just lost like 10% for my shareholders or whatever. Like, so he still has stresses and problems, things that keep him up at night.
Right.
It's just that the things that keep him up at night are way, way better than, like those homeless guys down by the.
So how did you change it, Charlamagne?
Well, it's kind of like that whole thing of if you put your problems in a bucket and somebody else put their problems in a bucket and you was able to see their problems, you take yours back.
Right. Everything's relative or whatever like that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that chapter helped me a lot because I just realized it's okay, like not to be all the way happy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in a certain position, people think, oh, it's supposed to be all good. Like you got a great career, you got money, your family's happy, and then so you think something's wrong with you because you're like, why the fuck do I feel this way today then? You know what I'm saying? Everything is all good. So
grass is green while I feel like shit.
Yeah, do I got a fucking chemical imbalance? Am I fucking getting mental illness at this late stage in my life?
Well, and
so then what do you do in that situation? So
I think I've started to realize that a lot of the problems, like I said, I've been saying it for the past couple of weeks, 90% of the stuff that's affecting me has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And it has to do with trying to please everybody fucking else.
So you're stressed or you're feeling unhappy because you're not.
I'm feeling unhappy because everybody else not happy. You know what I'm saying? And trying to make people happy. Like
that's another chapter in the book. But I wanted to say something that's interesting because I imagine you can relate to this a lot. Like when I was starting out in my career, like I was sleeping on a friend's couch. I had a bunch of websites nobody ever went to. And I had these dreams in my head of like, if I can just, get this many people to read my stuff, everything's going to be great. If I can get a book deal, everything's going to be great. If I can get on the New York Times list, everything will be great. And you start achieving a lot of those things. And then it's like you said, you still like everything's amazing and you still wake up and you're like, you feel like crap sometimes. Like things still suck sometimes. And now you have new problems that are annoying you. And so like that was the big thing for me. Like I had the mindset when I was younger of like, if I could just achieve all these things, life would be amazing. Yeah. Or like I would feel great all the time. And that's just not the case. Like
that's why successful people commit suicide.
Yeah, it freaks you out.
Think about it, right? It's like at least when you're not successful, there's the hope of happiness is with success.
Yeah.
But what happens if you get everything you want in life?
Then you really think something's wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you like, hold up.
I got it all. What the fuck am I miserable for?
Still miserable.
Might as well kill myself.
I'm telling you, man.
That's Robin Williams. I get that shit.
I'm telling you, gotta be, yo. Not the chapter 3. You are not special.
Yeah,
love that one too.
It's important, man.
Yeah.
It's I feel very strongly that kind of a side effect. We were just talking about tweet storms and internet debates and stuff earlier. Like. I really think that a big side effect of like social media and the internet in general is that it's giving everybody this constant sense that they're the center of the universe. Mm-hmm. And you're starting to see this like play out in culture and stuff too. It's like parents don't want grades at their kids' school because they don't want, junior to feel bad because you got a bad grade.
Dumbest
like,
shit in the world.
Yeah. Like
participation trophies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everybody's supposed to be this like special, perfect, unique person. And I argue that one, it's the opposite. We're all pretty much shitty in the same ways. And then two, like that's actually a good thing because it's when you think that you're special and that you're God's gift to the planet, that all of these bad behaviors that we see start to happen. Suddenly you start feeling justified in like, treating somebody disrespectfully because
you think you're better than them.
I'm special, like I'm like this hot shit. So
that's Ramadan right there, man.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like you don't have anything
in London.
No, I'm saying you don't have anything for 40 days. It humbles you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have no water, no food for 40 days, and you start to feel what that guy goes through, and you're like, oh no, he's not hungry because he's just lazy or something like that. It's like he's just going through some real shit. Maybe I have to empathize with that individual. Yeah,
when I was younger, when my, because I'm from the country, so they be like,
we all need Ramadan.
You walking around here like your shit don't stink. You know what I'm saying? Your shit stink like everybody else. I used to wipe my ass and smell the tissue. I'm dead serious. I used to wipe my ass and smell the tissue just to make sure my shit actually stank. And it helps. That helps. If you wipe your ass and just smell the tissue and realize your shit stinks like everybody else's, I think that fucking helps.
That's
bro.
That's some nice homework for everybody listening.
I'm not gonna lie, I do that to this day.
Smell your own shit today.
My friends have caught me. They call me an ape. They think I'm an ape because I smell my shit when I do it. But I think there's something primal
Apes
about
do
it.
that?
Hell yeah! You know they pick their ass and they smell it. They throw it at each other.
Well, maybe that's why apes are humble.
Yo,
maybe that's why apes are humble.
Maybe Caesar thought that his shit didn't stink.
Probably not.
But I totally agree with that because I don't feel like you're better than anybody else. And if you read like Dr. Wayne W. Dyer, he always says you're not your things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I always feel that way. I'm not my career. I'm not my position in life. I'm just a human being just like everybody else. Yeah. Like that whole thinking you're better than everybody to me is what got the world fucked up. That's what creates classism. Totally. That's what creates racism. That's what creates homophobia, Islamophobia, all that.
Yeah, totally.
I just have a couple questions.
Sure.
How do you not care about the opinions of others?
I mean, it's impossible.
Or is that a goal even?
Right. So it sounds nice, but honestly, if you don't care what anybody thinks, then you just become a psychopath, you know? So
you need a certain amount of...
It's healthy to care what people think.
That's why you got to go read YouTube comments every now and then. Go read YouTube comments about yourself, bro.
They got in you.
I read some last night. I was what the fuck?
You were in your feelings yesterday.
You know what it was? Because I wore this shirt on Monday, man. It was a shirt from How You Clothing, by the way.
Yeah.
And like, motherfuckers was like, yo, you getting chubby. I'm like, what? And I knew it was the shirt because the shirt didn't really fit right, but I still wanted to rock it because I like the message on it. You know what I'm saying?
You see him making excuses.
It was
the shirt that made me fat.
It was definitely the shirt.
It was the shirt.
I was on the scale. I was like, hold the fuck up. Did I gain weight?
Yo, you were just on vacation, man. Give yourself a rest.
I'm good.
But
let me find out how vain you are. Listen, you're fat like all of us, bro. It's okay.
Listen, fat comments hurt. I see what y'all saying now, but that's not gonna stop me from telling y'all fat as fuck. Goddamn it. All right.
With your high you clothing, body built, motherfucker.
I just know what that pain feel like. Sometimes you gotta know what the pain feel like to administer it the right way. All right. What you were saying, Mark?
Fuck, man.
You were saying some people act like they don't care about nothing.
Care a little bit.
So it's not about not caring what anybody thinks. It's about understanding like whose opinions matter. Like making that choice of like, all right, these are the people that I love and respect in my life. So these are the opinions that I value and that I pay attention to. You know, it's like YouTube comments, like random people on the internet, Twitter. Like it's, you know, you have to like understand where, like how to prioritize those things.
Like those are ghosts.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Like everybody's an asshole on the internet, you know? Right. Like it's like I can't tell you how many times like I've seen somebody be a raging dick on like Facebook or something, and then I hang out with them in person and it's like they're just a cool, chill person. You know, like the internet skews us and like makes us seem much worse than we are, I think.
Because there's no repercussions.
There's no repercussions, and it's so easy to look at a tweet by like somebody like Linda and just make the worst assumption about it. Like there's nothing stopping you from being like, this guy's an alt-right asshole, so I'm gonna like tell him off, you know? Like whereas if you saw the person in real life, you'd understand like, this is a complex human who has different ideas and beliefs, and you know, he has a certain perspective that doesn't mean he's this way, you know. All that gets lost online.
Yeah, because like truth be told, if he was having a conversation, then you would just realize Jake is probably a person who feels like Assata Shakur killed this cop.
Right. Sure.
Got convicted. And now has fled to Cuba to avoid being prosecuted here in the U.S. to avoid jail.
Yeah, well, and it's important to remember too that you know, like you were saying earlier, like killing a cop, like that's something that triggers people emotionally. You know, like that's something that people see. Like I've never heard of this woman before, but as soon as you were like, yeah, she was convicted of killing a cop, I was like, holy shit!
It's like people,
that's visceral reaction.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's like people who call us rape apologists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if I defend a Nate Parker, or I say, look, man, it's dangerous in the court of public opinion for Bill Cosby to be destroyed. Oh, you're a rape apologist. No, it has nothing to do with the actual.
We don't
act.
know if he raped yet.
Exactly. That's all. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. Well, especially because we got a lot of good, so much good stuff that you're here for.
Bills. We've been on. Listen, Mark does a podcast, right?
Do I?
I thought you did a podcast.
No.
No podcast.
He does.
This is what I got to deal with every single. This is what I got to deal with every week. You right here saying you don't do a podcast, and he's looking at you like, nah,
when don't you do a podcast?
No, I don't have one. Well, I mean, I have like audios of my articles that I post on like iTunes and stuff. But
Mark, we was in L.A. Remember we bombed in L.A. for our live podcast? You had a line out the door. And it was like you was doing your live podcast. There was like some hotel. Where was we at in Cali?
Who are you talking about?
I don't think you're thinking the right guy.
Who's impersonating me? I want to know.
Who the fuck am I talking about?
You're not thinking about Art of Charm.
No, I know Jordan.
Oh.
Hold on.
Yeah, that would be the.
Am I bugging?
Yeah, you are bugging.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking about? Mark Madison.
Oh. Okay, well, that's not you.
Mark Maron.
Mark Maron.
That's who the fuck
you thought we had Mark Maron in today?
No, I just lost a lot of respect for Mark. I'm going to tell you why I just lost a lot of respect for Mark Maron. Because I thought Mark's podcast was booming so much that he was selling all these fucking books. Now I respect you more than I respect Mark.
Yeah, you don't even have a podcast. He's selling books. That's how fire the book is.
Without no goddamn podcast.
This is what I got to go through every week, bro. Okay? It's like every week I got to go through this shit, and he's so convincing. He almost had you thinking you had a podcast.
I was like, wait, did I forget that I did a podcast?
I did put my audio up on iTunes. There's nobody. Is that considered a podcast?
Me and Andrew suffer from the same thing. Okay, we just deliver it in different ways.
Very different ways. He delivers it well, and I deliver like this. Hey, Ramadan is the end of Ramadan.
All right, this week's episode of Brilliant Idiots is brought to you by HBO's Insecure. Creator and star Issa Rae is back with a brand new season of her deeply relatable series about friends, love, and LA, Insecure. Listen, I was with Issa a couple times in the past month. She was with me this week on The Breakfast Club, and then I interviewed her at the BET Genius Talks. And Issa's one of those people that I really, really respect because she came up in such a non-traditional way. She came up because of the fucking internet.
Yeah.
You know, when everybody was closing doors on her and she was writing things and nobody was accepting them, she said, fuck it. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to do this Awkward Black Girl series. And that has turned into a book and a hit television show on HBO. So I absolutely respect Issa Rae. And season 2 of Insecure finds Issa dealing with the repercussions of her infidelity and the fallout of her breakup with long-term boyfriend Lawrence. I am Lawrence Hive. I hope that on the first episode of Insecure 2, it starts with Issa Rae balled up in a fetal position, listening to Lemonade, crying her motherfucking eyes out, okay? Because she cheated with that fucking record producer dude and got smutted out in the studio, and then Lawrence did what any man would do when he found out his woman was cheating. He went and fucked the girl that wanted to give him some pussy.
Shout out to Lawrence.
While he was in a relationship, he was a good, faithful man, because men don't cheat.
No, we don't cheat.
So when he found out his woman cheated, he broke up with her and went and got some goddamn pussy.
That's not even cheating. I don't consider that cheating for a man.
God bless Lawrence, man. Lawrence is slowly getting back on his feet, though, and while still conflicted about his feelings for Issa, he begins to move forward without her.
I almost want you to just finish the ad. You're doing this so brilliantly. I'm excited about the show. I've never been excited about Insecure until right now.
I'm
like, fuck.
Issa's best friend Molly faces her own set of uncharted waters, you know, as she reshifts to focus on herself. Salute to Yvonne Orji, who plays Molly. She actually put men on the back burner, and she's seeking help from a therapist, but that's because Molly was a hoe. So no, she was. She's a hoe on the show. She's really a hoe on the show. She's a hoe on the show. She went through her whole phase, and now she's trying to motherfucking rejuvenate her pussy. We see this shit all the time. Girls go to therapists, they get baptized, and then they want to reposition themselves as not being a hoe so they can get picked up by some dude. I see it all the time.
If Charlamagne did every ad like he's doing this Insecure ad, we'd be fucking multi-billionaires by now.
I love Insecure.
Unbelievable.
So this summer, Insecure isn't holding back, and life is hella out there. So watch the premiere of Insecure Season 2, July 23rd at 10:30 p.m. on HBO.
I haven't seen the episode, so you got to clarify for me. But there was a very interesting thing brought up in one of these episodes an idea that I've been already thinking about, so I'm kind of bummed she already did it. But it was something about how, like, a guy said he did some gay shit in his past.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes,
and then
one of the guys that Molly was dating.
one of the guys Molly's dating said she disengaged in the past, and then she couldn't keep dating him.
Well, it was funny because they was.
Can you just put the scene?
Yeah,
together?
they was talking about their like whole phases and their past.
Yeah,
and, you know. Then they started talking about, you know, Molly was like, "Yeah, I've been with a girl before, you know, like one time in college, whatever." So his old loose booty ass is like, Yeah. I was with a guy before in college, you know what I'm saying? I let one suck me off, whatever. So it was like the record scratch. Because, by the way, that's not, I mean, I'm happy that he's living his truth, but that's not information you just share.
So
you know what I mean?
So here's the thing. Maybe men are homophobic because women are judgmental.
What do you mean?
If women would just accept the fact that dudes did some gay shit and still fuck us, right? Then we would be fine. We wouldn't be homophobic. But the idea that...
Did you just come out the closet?
No. So Stop it. Don't even go there. Just stop it. Let's have a conversation. Just stop it. Right?
You want to tell us?
Listen, what is it? Gay Pride Andy? No, sorry. So my point is this. If girls are so repulsed by the fact that a guy did some gay shit, of course guys are going to protect their straightness with their life.
Yeah,
you saying I'm gay? You saying I'm gay? Well, I'm going to fight you and I'm going to knock you out because there's no way I can have any rumors that I'm gay because then girls won't fuck me. Maybe the reason we're so anti being gay or thought of as gay is because we'll never get laid from a woman again.
I thought it was very hypocritical, and I still don't. I guess weird to me how we view lesbians as how we view gay men.
We're less judgmental than these ladies, bro.
It's weird.
These ladies are so alt-right.
This guy.
So alt-right.
That's alt-left. All right? That's the alt-left.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's weird because I think the difference is that for a guy, two girls getting it on is like, it's a turn on.
Yeah, of course.
It for pretty much all of us. Whereas like the opposite is not true. Usually.
You don't know. I've never watched it.
What do you mean?
No. I'm not saying
you know what I'm saying?
No, I'm saying women don't get turned on by two guys going.
Oh no, you're
That's
right.
what I'm
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and women get turned on by watching women as well.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't know if they do.
Well,
I just think I think that's the only porn that's for them. Like porn is made for men.
But I think it's just that like men, what turns men on is very different than what turns women on, and so you get this like
we want multiple women
imbalance.
Women don't want multiple men. Women actually want one guy that loves them, is going to be, you know, make them feel safe and secure and raise the family. That's what they actually want. We would love to have multiple women. We just can't do that because women won't allow us.
Turned down by two men inside them.
Hey, Greg. Greg Schultz with the bomb point. Greg Schultz say women get turned on by two men inside them. That's true. That's a great point.
Some real shit, I don't even know if they get turned on, but I think they might like the degradation of it. Like some girls just like to be degraded, so maybe they get off on that. But like, man, I got some girls asking me to say some weird shit. Do you like fucking when they ask you to call them like whores and sluts and shit like that?
Well, that's the value of suffering. That's chapter 4 in your book.
Yeah,
that's the
nice tie-in.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Do you do that to girls? Do you guys get off on that? I don't get off.
Well, look, like everybody's like different. You know, it's like we all like different types of pizzas. We all like to get fucked in a different way. Like it's a personality thing as well. It's not just a male-female thing.
I'll fuck you like a whore. But
don't make me call you.
I don't want to call you. You know what I mean? Like it seems extra. It seems I need to put a highlighter on it. Like, listen, we know what's going on. Like I'm pushing your head down and you're gagging. I don't need to go, you're gagging, aren't you?
Nothing wrong with saying you're a bad bitch.
But some people are in that. Some people are into like vocalized stuff, you know, like just like some people are in like feet. Some people are into like.
I do love some feet. Not fucking them, but I do like the way a foot looks.
I'm into compliments, man. I like if you giving me some amazing fellatio or some amazing pussy. I like telling you, like my God, like
you're talking about kinky shit. He's I like compliment. I look slim today. Did you say this shirt makes me look skinny?
If a girl's giving you head and you look down and you be like, this head is amazing.
I thought you.
Oh, you like giving compliments?
Yeah, I thought you meant receiving compliments. Like, yeah, girl, tell me I'm fucking hot.
No.
You want to know the best compliment to get when you're getting?
Tell me my hair looks good today.
I do like hearing my head is amazing. I do like.
Wait, you're going down and a girl's like, yo, you're giving great head.
I love that. Like right when a girl squirts and well, not a girl, but my wife, and she squirts, and she's like,
you heard a bit rewind real quick on that shit.
"Hey man, you gotta keep it spicy."
Edit that out.
Okay, I don't call her a bitch, but I call her a girl. Like, that's my wife.
Yo, I was with this chick last night. Yo. She had a wedding ring on. It was crazy.
I was fucking somebody's wife last night. Forgot to mention it was mine, but hey, you know what I mean? Tell us more about the value of suffering.
So
I love the self-awareness on you.
yeah. So the value of suffering is basically like it's simply the argument that anything worthwhile in life, like the reason it feels worthwhile is because we sacrifice for it. You know, if like stuff is just given to you, you don't appreciate it. You feel, in fact, the opposite happens. You start feeling entitled.
Woo, absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's like it's that sense of, like you said, striving for something, like putting in effort, energy, sacrifice that actually makes something so worthwhile. And I talk about how, like, if you think about like all the best moments of your life, pretty much every single one, you know, whether it's like your wedding, having a kid, you know, something major that happened to you when you were growing up, like there's a lot of like pain and stress involved in pretty much all of those situations, you know, and that's just a necessary component of it. It adds the meaning.
You need to suffer to feel good.
I think you appreciate things more when you've been through, like how you just said, you appreciate things more when you've been through something. So like a day like my wedding, I appreciated that moment because I had been with my wife for 15 years prior to that. You know what I'm saying? Or like if I go on vacation and, you know, I got my whole family with me on vacation, I appreciate that more because of what I've been through, like as far as like going to jail and all that type of shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, like, so like a wedding, right? Like everybody thinks of their wedding day and it's like one of the best days of their lives. What you forget is like the months and months of bullshit planning, like your aunt complaining because like the flowers don't look like there's all this stress and like angst and frustration that happens for months before that. And the reason it happens is because it's so important. Is because like your family, literally every single person you love and care about is going to be involved in this one day. And that like that's terrifying. It's incredibly stressful. But the result of that is just this incredible experience that you can't feel any other way.
That shit was so stressful, bro.
What, your wedding?
I mean, this the whole process leading up to it because I didn't want nothing to do with it. Like, don't ask me shit. I'm a man. I'm showing up. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be there. Don't ask me nothing about nothing.
My shoes will be clean.
That's
like,
it. I'm there. I don't know about decorations, food. And I was really a bar humbug. I was really a Scrooge McDuck up until the day of the wedding.
Yeah.
Because the day was great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I got my hair cut. We had a great time that day. We had a great time that night. Everything leading up to that shit,
it's horrible.
Leave me the fuck alone, bro.
We should get left the fuck. It's not for us.
No.
Like, I think we even spoke about on this podcast before, like, the wedding is for the lady. It's your wedding.
Absolutely.
You get the dress. It's your day. You're the star. We're just waiting up there for you to arrive. So I don't think we should have anything to do with it. It's not to celebrate us.
But I mean, the problem though is that we also need to support the lady, you know? So it's like, for instance, my wife, like literally 10 days before our wedding, she like there was a problem with the dress. It literally didn't fit. And she just had like an emotional breakdown, like complete meltdown. And then there was 50 things that needed to be done.
Yikes.
And so, you know, like suddenly I'm the errand boy who's like running around 8 hours a day, like trying to like fix all this crap because like her dress doesn't fit, you know? So like, it's just so much stress. And then, you know, you've got family flying in and old friends. And then, you know, you've got a friend who's like doesn't eat gluten or is vegetarian. And they want to know about if you can call the caterers and get this done. And, you know, it's just like all this bullshit that is so stressful. But then the day happens and you're like,
it's the best day ever.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it's true. Like you mentioned, like going to jail. Like I've got a story in the book there about, well, I've got a lot of stories in the book there. One's about getting arrested. One's about my parents divorcing. One's about my friend dying. And
which fucked me up. We'll talk about that later.
All right. But it's crazy because I look back and those are actually some of the most formative moments of my life. Like they completely changed the trajectory of my life in like really important ways. And the fact that I went through those things eventually, I mean, sometimes it took years and years to process, but like they eventually made me a much stronger person.
Adversity introduces a man to himself.
Yeah. I mean, and this comes back to kind of what we were talking about, like, you are not special. Like, all this stuff these days, especially on like college campuses or like the alt left, where like, you know, words, you know, they have like safe spaces and trigger warnings and microaggressions and all this stuff. And it's like, no, you need to face adversity. Like you need to face ideas that like piss you off and offend you and upset you because like that's what makes you a better person.
Absolutely. That's what scares me about the future. And because we didn't have all of that, bro. You had to deal with this shit or you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm serious. Like we didn't have all of these fucking buffers and safe spaces and all of this shit. Like, and that shit is stupid. And I feel like not being able to have conversation is going to get us nowhere. And the reason we're not able to have conversations is because all the conversations are happening on social media. Yeah. So by the time we even get to a good, like we can have a conversation there for an hour and a half and get somewhere. Yeah. It's not going to get to that. Yeah. It's going to start with that tweet. Everybody's going to take the tweet, you know, misconstrue it, and you're going to be fucked up.
Yeah, the safe space should be a place where you can ask these questions.
Yes.
A white person can go to a black person and say, hey, why is boy offensive? Calling you boy offensive. And instead of getting ridiculed for asking the question, he can because there's this history of this. A safe space is not let's insulate these kids from what the real world is and then create these pussies.
Nobody's talking to each other. Listen, I'll say this a court situation.
Because the cost is too high. You ask these questions, you get drilled for it.
Well, let me, maybe we should start, I don't know, it's weird because you can't have them in a public forum. And to say the secure situation is a good situation because instead of people saying, well, I take that back. Andrew texted me yesterday and asked me, why are they celebrating Aseta Shakur or whatever? Yeah. I can't be mad at that question because based off the information Andrew has, Andrew thinks she's a cop killer who escaped jail and fled to Cuba.
Can I say your response? Because that shit was so funny about why you don't think that she killed the cop. No, we don't share all group chat things.
Nope. Gotta keep the group chat fire. Group chat action. That's group chat. Listen, our group chat is fire. You talk about the subtle art and not giving
it is not even subtle.
Our group chat title is the 90s. All right?
We're gonna invite you to this shit.
It's me, Andrew, and Van. Like we don't even know if we can invite anybody else into that.
Bro, it's scary. We gotta really vet you.
It's scary. Yeah. And we gotta keep a close eye on Van as well. Because Van got enough to bury both of us.
I know it's that. But we got some good shit.
We got some good shit on Van. Van Lathan, you better have never ever think about it. All right? now, you talk about in the value of suffering, you talk about defining good and bad values.
Sure. So,
and we're talking to Mark Manson. He has a book out called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Great read. I recommend it.
Yeah, so what I talk about, I mean, this is what I keep telling people. I really wanted to write a book about values, like what we choose to care about, what we choose to make important in our life. But then I realized that like nobody was going to buy a book about values. So I called it Not Giving a Fuck, you know, which is basically the same thing. It's like choosing what you give a fuck about is basically like choosing what's important.
What do we have to give a fuck about?
That was my whole concept, by the way. I just want to keep throwing that out there over and over. You know what I'm saying? That's Shaman Schuster, y'all were totally wrong. I want to keep saying that. Okay.
Salty.
That was my one. That was my pitch.
I like it. I like it. You know what's funny? Just to rub some salt in your wound.
The value of suffering. Give it to me.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, we pitched this book. So originally, this wasn't even the title of the book originally. Like we pitched it. Yeah, we pitched it.
The original title was Black Privilege.
Yeah.
Opportunity comes to those who don't give a fuck. Yeah.
We pitched it to like 5 or 6 different publishers, and a lot of them, they were like, yeah, absolutely no F word in the title. All the same reasons that they gave you. Yeah. And then actually Harper, they were like, we really want it. We really want the fuck title. Like we really, really feel strongly we want the fuck title. Yeah.
See, I love people who are willing to take a goddamn risk.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
but anyway, good values, bad values. So the whole point, and I guess this is kind of the central point of the book, is that like we all choose what we care about. We all choose what's important to us, like what our values are. And if we have bad values, like if we're caring about the wrong things, then it doesn't matter how hard you work, doesn't matter how disciplined you are, doesn't matter how lucky you are, how much you teach yourself, how much you learn. If you have a bad value, then you're just going the wrong direction. And actually working harder towards that bad value is just going to put you there quicker. You know, so just an example of like a bad value.
Give us a bunch of bad values.
Yeah, so it's like materialistic stuff, right? Yeah. So it's like if all you care about is money, and like this is, everybody's heard stories like this. It's like if all you care about is money, then you're willing to do a bunch of shit that's going to make you miserable to get there.
Just to get the money, yes.
Yeah, and we were talking about like celebrities that kill themselves later. It's a lot of this is, they cared so much about the fame and the attention that they actually didn't pay attention to the stuff that mattered in their lives.
Yeah.
They forgot about their families. They pissed off a bunch of their friends. Then
you get old and have regrets.
Yeah, exactly, and they can't take it.
What other bad values? And then what are these the good values?
So materialistic values are bad. Stuff that's like instantly gratifying. So like
Twitter, Instagram, all that shit.
Yeah, like
side pussy.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say chasing pussy, drugs. Like I use at one point in the book, I was like, if you want to be happy all the time, it's really easy. Like just start a heroin habit. Like you'll feel good. Like fucking, you'll run out of money and then you'll feel horrible. But like, if that's all you want is just to feel good, like just go do a bunch of drugs. Like,
yeah, I got that from the book too. I was thinking like, cause it was a part in the book where I was thinking like, so if I just do the bad things that I'm trying not to do, would I be more happier? Because there's a lot of discipline goes into like not fucking other women, right?
Yeah.
So if I was just to say, fuck it, I'm gonna fuck other chicks, would I be happy? Probably not, because then I would be guilty and regretful of cheating on my wife.
Yeah, and not even that. Like it would interfere with your relationship with your wife. Even if she didn't find out, it would probably interfere with the relationship with your wife. And then if she did find out, then like shit would hit the fan, and you would make yourself miserable for a long time. And like that's a good example of, where a good value meets a bad value. Like the good value, which is like valuing your marriage, it's not exciting all the time, but it makes you more fulfilled. It adds more value to your life in the long run than, chasing some pussy. Like it's exciting. It's fun. Maybe it's a little ego boost for a little while.
Total ego.
But it completely interferes with all these other more important things. And so, yeah, if you value that short-term excitement over that long-term steady fulfillment, then yeah, you're just going to screw yourself over.
Do you think and I don't know if you said this or we even said this earlier, but is it possible that happiness is not the goal? Did you say that?
Yeah.
You did say that.
It's not the point.
Because, once happiness is not the point, then we can't be upset that we're not happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Once we accept that there's going to be ebbs and flows.
That's really the whole point of the book. The whole point of the book is, like, to me, accepting the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah.
When the fuck did happiness become part of life? Like, I feel like people, right? Like,
That's
I
why,
feel like in the
chapter 2 he says happiness is a problem.
Right.
No, but for real, like,
but
in the 20s where people like, I want to be happy. No, you went to the factory, you fucking worked, you got cancer, and you died. I don't think that happiness, this is new happiness.
It is new. It's just in the last couple of generations, since like the 70s. I mean, the whole self-help thing didn't even really take off until like the 50s and 60s.
Oh, he had to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, it also became a big selling point. I mean, suddenly people were like, oh, we want to be happy. Like screw like, having a steady job and a white picket fence. Like I want to be self-fulfilled and self-actualized.
Yeah, we're like you said, values. We're changing our values that are making us less happy.
Yeah.
Before, happiness wasn't a value. It was have a family, make sure your kids are okay, put food on the table, be a husband. And then you probably felt better because the expectation was lower. Now we got this expectation of I need to wake up and be happy 24/7. And if I'm not, I'm a failure.
Which makes people miserable.
Fuck, we're miserable.
You know what makes me miserable? Not being, I don't give a fuck, but when we can't just speak freely and not offend motherfuckers.
Seriously, man.
I'm serious.
Seriously.
Because we can't get to a proper understanding. Like I was having a conversation with, what's the transgender's name? She just put out a book.
Caitlyn.
Kylie Jenner?
No,
Caitlyn. Kylie better not be.
Hey, Janet Mock, right?
Caitlyn Jenner. That's
Janet Mock. Janet Mock is a bad.
Is what?
Bad woman. I'm about to say.
Wait, what?
She's a bad chick.
Meaning you would hit.
I wouldn't hit, but
you get head.
Like you look at her and you'd be like, okay, you were supposed to be a woman. All right.
Is she Asian?
No.
What is she?
Black. She's a black.
I need to see how big are the hands and feet. That's the most important
Face is not strong at all.
No, fair enough with the face. The issue is I can't date a girl with bigger feet and hands than me.
That's a picture of her.
But this shit is blurry right now. You got to get the
book's in the room.
The thing didn't.
Go get her a book for me, Paige. Her book's sitting by my desk. Bring my book too, please.
So what's happening is, like, if the hands are big, like a guy's hands, and the feet are big, you know what I mean? It's a little bit much. I can't have bigger shoes than me.
But I was talking about her because it's like we was having a conversation, and her people was in the room, and there's certain things I would ask, and you would hear all their butts clench. Like, relax.
Like what? What'd you ask?
Like just like. Do you got a clit? Like I want, like you know what I'm saying?
Did she have a clit, or she still got the ding dong? She got the clit.
Oh, she got the full surgery. She got the top of the line, baby.
Now, which vagina did she choose?
I'm not sure, but she's had it.
Did they have like a whole poster board?
It's like the barbershop when you got the comb over, you got the slick back, the high fade.
She started her reassignment when she was like a teenager. Like she knew since she was 6 she wanted to be.
Well, apparently it's much easier then because you get the estrogen earlier, so your body changes.
She was going through puberty. Yeah, maybe that's why hers turned out the way that it turned out.
Yeah,
because hers look right.
So
right?
would you get hit?
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
he's married, man.
Yeah, I'm married. I'm married, and I'm just being honest. This is me, and please, we're having this is the Brilliant Idiots.
Yeah,
we talk here.
Yeah.
So I'm not transphobic or anything. Yeah. I'm just saying, me personally, I couldn't live with myself. You know why I couldn't live with myself? Because I have a very homophobic father, and if I was to tell him that I got a head from a woman who used to be a man, then he would make me feel like shit, and then I'd be upset. You know,
bro, I think this trans acceptance is all up to the doctors. Not acceptance as a person, but like in terms of like all these articles, straight men need to have sex with trans women. Once you make them fuckable, we gonna fuck them. Right now, they just look like dudes.
Yeah,
still.
I mean, dude,
Caitlyn looks like Bruce. Let's keep it 100.
Let's be honest. Straight guys will stick their dick in pretty much anything.
Bro, once they start making them look like Kylie Jenner, you're going to see a lot of dudes like, yo, love is love.
Yeah, exactly.
Love is love,
Mark,
bro.
We're segueing.
We got to accept everybody, you know?
Look at Jan and Mark. We're segueing into the You Are All Choosing
That's a lady,
chapter
dog.
2. That's what I'm saying.
That's a lady.
Apparently, we're about to be choosing some trannies here.
Hey, love is love, bro.
And that is
love
not a good word, Mark. It's transgender or transsexual.
Sorry.
Why is tranny bad?
I didn't mean to
I have
offend
no idea.
anybody.
We asked her yesterday.
What'd she say?
I didn't really.
It's like midget. Why is midget bad? Everybody wants their M-word. That's the fucked up thing.
And it's one of those.
Why can't we just have the M-words fucked up and then all the other shit really ain't that bad?
You know what I said to her? I said, is it because tranny rhymes with granny and you don't want nobody to think you old bitch? I did say that.
They would gladly want to be a bitch. Just don't call me old.
But you are always choosing. I love that chapter, especially the victimhood cheeks.
What the ass look like, bro?
Yeah.
She got some cakes back there or what?
I hope they didn't catch me looking at her ass, because I definitely, when she got up and walked off, Envy caught me. He's like, I see you looking at her ass. I'm like, bro, I'm looking at the work.
Yeah. Why would you not?
I'm looking at the work.
This is a Picasso.
Come on, man.
You gotta admire the whole
If you
painting.
saw that right now.
I don't know if you'd say Picasso if you've ever seen a Picasso.
If I didn't.
Picasso is a bad tranny. Picasso
maybe like a Rembrandt or Michelangelo.
That's a Banksy.
That's a Banksy.
Banksy looks
That's
real.
a Monet.
Banksy looks real light, baby.
Yeah.
If I passed that book around the room and didn't tell you that used to be a man, you
I would never know.
Never.
You tell him, listen, you don't think that they're working on like a hand shrinking surgery right now?
They probably already got it. I don't know.
They probably have everything.
Bro, you gotta shrink the hand. I just can't be in a situation where I'm like, babe, can you pass me that basketball? She goes, and just hands that shit to me, palmed up.
Girls with big hands, though.
I don't like that.
Some girls have big hands.
I don't like that. You like that?
Would you date a female basketball player?
Say what?
A female basketball player.
Would I date her?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends how big. If she's like 6'6" and like got her hands bigger than mine, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
You say you don't like big hands because you ain't never had that basket weave technique.
I had the basket weave technique, but I like it when it looks like she's struggling to hold my dick. I don't want her to
Dick talk.
Dick segment. We back.
That basket weave technique on that dick, man.
Yeah, but don't you like it when they're like trying to hold on for dear life?
No, I like when they got it gripped.
Because
you single ass Paige, and they talk about why you call it basket weaving. That's why you single.
You don't weave a basket like
no, that's how you turn butter.
That's turning butter.
What's basket weave?
Basket weave.
Well, that's what they call this is basket weaving. That's what I saw from Superhead.
What's it? Wait, what is a basket weave?
Butter.
So what's the basket weave then? Yeah, because you're single. Turning butter. That shit don't even sound sexy. I'm going to turn that butter.
My butter.
Yeah, I'm going to turn your butter.
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't think there's anybody more confident than you, bro. Earlier this podcast, there's nobody more confident than me. Earlier this podcast, you say you got a podcast. He goes, Mark, you got a podcast. And then you go, no, I don't. And he goes, Yes, you do. You got a podcast. Right? Just right now, he goes, this is how you basket weave. A girl who sucks dick just said, that's not a basket weave. And he goes, shut up. You don't know shit about sucking dick.
By the way,
it's a basket weave.
By the way, Paige had nothing to do with sucking dick. Paige was talking about arts and crafts. She was talking about actual basket weaving. Then she started talking about churning butter because she's from Pennsylvania, and that's what they do in Pennsylvania.
You're letting those Mormons.
You call this basket weaving when you're giving a guy a hand job and you use two different directions?
That's masturbation? Is that what you... Go outside, yo.
Jesus Christ, man.
It's just described as masturbation.
I don't know how y'all have sex with young girls, yo.
Say what?
I don't know how y'all have sex with young girls.
Listen, you got to train them like Kelly, man. That's what you got to do. That's why Kelly had to train her, bro.
This is good.
Listen, let's get in there. Let's get into
Talk about victimhood cheek real quick, Mark. I think we can tie this into the R. Kelly.
We got to get into this Kelly shit.
Okay.
You're familiar with the Kelly situation, right?
What Kelly situation?
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly, of course.
Yeah. The most recent one?
No, not the most recent.
R. Kelly's a piece of shit. He's accused of having a cult of women. And the parents are saying that the girls are being held against their will. The girls are saying they're not being held against their will. But I saw some goddamn notes yesterday, man. It was this one girl. One of the girls that he has been tweeting me since 2013. I had no idea until I saw Baller Alert post him yesterday.
Every couple of days, help.
Hold on, no, this shit was sad. Hold on, read you this shit, man.
Holy shit.
Explain victimhood chic while I find these mothers.
Okay, so in victimhood chic I talk about this cultural trend where it's becoming cool to be victimized.
Oh, yeah.
And you have these different groups that are like battling to argue who's actually more victimized.
Victimhood Olympics, we call it.
Yeah.
Talk about it all the time, baby.
Yeah, and it's
Why is this bad, Mark?
Well, it's really fucked up because it's exactly what we were talking about earlier. If everybody starts claiming they're a victim, then suddenly being a victim doesn't mean anything anymore. You know, it's like if everybody's
values victimhood,
right? If everybody's a victim, then it's just so much easier to just not care. Like
that's why I will not let anybody get ahead of us when it comes to blackness. All right,
you guys are the victim.
Gays, transgenders.
We were here
especially
first,
the transgenders. Y'all knew, bro. Y'all gotta get in line.
My buddy had this funny situation recently. Okay, this comic named Jared Freed. Funny situation. He's at a comedy club, right? And he sees this dude in front of him, and his friend Monroe. His friend Monroe, black dude, right? He walks up to Monroe. He does some white boy fun. He slides his hand between his butt cheeks, like a credit card. Classic white boy fun, some gay shit, right?
Gay.
So Monroe,
it's gotta be classic white boy fun.
It's classic white boy fun.
Give the gays their thing, bro.
Same thing.
All right, so it's some gay shit, right? So Monroe turns around to look at him, and it's actually not Monroe. It's just a black dude, right? So Jared has to make a decision, right? Am I gay or am I racist? Right? Do all black people look alike, or do I own this gay shit and act like he was flirting? And immediately he went with, man, I thought you were my friend Monroe.
Well,
he made that split decision.
What was Jared wearing that caused somebody to want to slide their hands up his ass? Okay?
No, Monroe. You would have played. You would have
got their ass
fake Monroe. You would have playing fake Monroe.
Yeah, who got their ass? Oh, so it was a random dude.
It was a random dude. It wasn't Monroe.
I took off running. You gotta take off running. There's no explaining that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my bad. I thought you was my homeboy.
No, but he basically looked. It was my bad. I think all black people look the same. That was the response, right? He had to choose.
Listen, then he'd be like, "Yo, I'm not gay." Yeah, but your homeboy clearly is. If you felt like you could just walk up to him and put your hands on his ass, like, stop it. Well, let's play some bills. We're going to come back with some R. Kelly and the last few chapters of Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Yo, maybe that victimhood chic thing, maybe what that is concentrating on bad values.
Totally.
If you're putting all your energy into how shitty you have it, you'll probably feel shitty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it becomes this like sick kind of status thing. There's this book written by a woman called it's called Who Stole Feminism by Christina Hoff Sommers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great book, and she talks about how she was at this like gender studies conference or whatever. And it's like this woman stood up and she was like, as a Latino woman, I would like to talk about oppression and blah, 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 blah. And she like says her thing. And then this other woman stands up and she's like, well, I am a black lesbian and I disagree with you because of blah, blah, blah. And I'm more oppressed than you. So, you know, I know better. And then this other woman stands up and she's like, I'm a transgender Native American. And like, and it's just this crazy, like, weird one-upmanship of like, I'm the most oppressed, therefore my victimhood matters the most.
I've been in that exact same scenario. It was when we did that MTV special, like right after Philando Castile and Alton Sterling and the cops got shot in Dallas, and like it was all about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And then black women were upset because they feel like they weren't being represented. And a black transgender woman stood up and said that the black transgenders aren't being represented on this show. And I'm like, it's Black Lives Matter.
Like all
that
black
all
lives.
encompassing. Like what? I don't even understand that logic to where we divide ourselves. Like, why do we have to be specific? Like, you don't think Black Lives Matter is specific enough?
Yeah.
Like
Makes perfect sense.
It's weird. Also with the victimhood thing, though, I feel like you can acknowledge that, you know, your people have been victims. You can acknowledge that your people are still victims, but the point is to get out of that victimhood. Yeah. Because you don't get points for that. Like nobody. Like, this is America. Nobody feels sorry for you. It's no sympathy. It's no empathy. You're not going to get. You're not going to get rewarded for remaining a victim. So let's figure it out. Let's be better.
Well, and that's what's awesome about the title of your book, Black Privilege, and like the message of it. You know, it's like it's really, really important, especially for white people. Like, it's really important that white people in the U.S. like understand all the fucked up shit that goes on and all the racism that goes on. But at the same time, there's still an onus on black people to like say, okay, this is the situation. What do I do? You know, like you can't just sit there and be like, well, I'm victimized. Everybody look how victimized I am. I mean, you know, like that's part of the equation, not the whole equation.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I always tell people I grew up in an era of say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Black is beautiful. Black excellence. Black men are gods. Black women are queens. Like, so my whole thing was, it's a privilege to be black. Yeah. Let's get back to that. Now, once we figure that, once we start realizing that again, then we can start figuring everything else out.
Yeah. Back to that conference with the girls, I think what I find, I think it's a form of lazy intellectualism.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
What it basically is, hey, I'm not going to refute your point with facts and understanding and research. I'm going to refute your point with experience. Yeah. Right? So, no, that's not how science works. Yeah. Right? A scientist that's studying neurons doesn't come in the room and be like, listen, I'm actually a gay Ashkenazi Jew, so listen to what I have to say about neurons, right? It's like, no, I just want facts. And I think it was Milton Friedman that said it great, and because people were trying to discredit him talking about poverty. And he goes, listen to me. First of all, I have been poor. Second of all, if you have lung cancer, do you require your doctor to have also had lung cancer? No. You just require him to have an education on this thing he's speaking about. Yeah. So we got to get away from this idea that you can only speak on something if you've gone through said thing.
And with that logic, you will never, ever see any strides forward because based off that logic of experience, white people would always run shit. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right, like, white people would always run shit. So if you ever want to get to that point where your community is running some shit, you know what I'm saying? Or you want to be empowered the way white people have empowered themselves, you can't have that mentality of, we're the victims. History says white people will always win and we'll always be on the bottom. You have to switch your train of thought. You have to switch your line of thinking. Yeah, you have absolutely. To. Now, today's episode is brought to you by St. Martin's Press, publisher of The Cartel 7, the new novel in the Cartel series from New York Times bestselling authors Ashley Antoinette and Jaquavis Coleman. Salute to my guy, Jaquavis. Remember we had him on the
That's absolutely true. And
podcast.
I'm glad how you switched it up because the copy is written wrong.
Totally wrong.
It's Coleman Jaquavis, but you in the moment flipped it. This guy's a pro. Yeah. It says it right here. Yeah, it says Coleman, but we know Jaquavis because we've had Quavo on the show. Absolutely. Okay? We know about this cartel series.
Well, after the tragic end to the cartel's reign, Carter is forced into isolation to evade the law. His wife is facing federal charges. His brother is 6 feet under, and his empire is in ruins at his feet, pulled into a world of love and hate, crime and punishment, loyalty and betrayal, all so he can reign once more.
That's right, man. It's a crazy situation. I mean, he may have been taken down, but he'll never be out of the game. Find out why Rolling Out says authors Ashley Antoinette and Jaquavis Coleman are taking the world of street literature by storm. Read The Cartel 7 today, available wherever books are sold. I got some shows coming up this weekend. I'm going to be at Levity Live in West Nyack, New York. I'm going to be there Friday through Sunday. That's the 21st to the 23rd. And then next week is going to be an adjustment. I'll actually be in Acme Comedy Club in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I'll be there the 27th through the 29th. Those 3 days. Originally, it was the 25th through the 20th, but now it's going to be 27th through the 29th. I got to shoot something here in the city. Then we're going to be August 5th at the Shout Out Live Festival in London. Make sure you check that out. And then I'm going to be in Buffalo, New York. I'm going to be the 24th to the 26th of August. Buffalo, New York, 24th through 26th of August. Where are we watching that Mayweather-McGregor fight? Somebody in Buffalo, let me know, because I'm trying to come over and watch it. Get those tickets. You can get them at theandrewschultz.com, or you can also get them at the websites of those comedy clubs. Thank you so much. Let's talk about Kelly, man.
R. Kelly, man. Listen, I don't fuck with R. Kelly. I've given R. Kelly props for one thing and one thing only. Well, 2 things. Number 1, he taught me how to eat ass.
Shout out to Kelly.
I learned how to eat ass because of the R. Kelly tape.
That's true.
And the Come Pee Come thing is still one of the most
legendary,
incredible things I've ever seen in my life. I still don't understand how a man could come and then pee right after coming and then come again. That happened.
Wait,
Mark.
that happened?
He busted a nut on this little 14-year-old girl. Then he peed on me like it was like the sperm came out, pee came out, sperm came out again. And he told her, let it drip.
Liquid sandwich, bro.
I never seen no shit like that in my life, man.
Jesus.
That's what the fuck I'm saying. So now he is alleged to have a cult of
Sex
women that he is just keeping captive. Oh, I have the actual Instagram right. This is one of the girls, right? This lady has been... This was 48 weeks ago. I don't even know when was that.
So this girl you've been ignoring her cries for help.
She don't have a profile picture, bro. But now she just got
She's
one.
not allowed to take pictures, bro. Kel don't allow that shit.
It said, this is my 18-year-old friend, Azriel. She is one of R. Kelly's living girlfriends. She met him at this show in Orlando last year. And then when you swipe the shit, all she keeps saying is, I want my friend back. Hold on. Look at these pictures. Look how little this girl is. Congrats to R. Kelly girlfriend and my BFF, Azriel Clary. We are finally graduating high school. It was good seeing you yesterday. Let the fun begin. I want my old friend back. She graduated high school in 2016.
Bro. Can we acknowledge that R. Kelly's a model pedophile?
Nah, he's not a model pedophile.
What?
Well, I mean, if you were a
More do we
pedophile,
want
he would be like the ultimate pedophile.
No, meaning no. What I'm trying to say
you
is,
worded it wrong. See, I see what you're trying to say.
I'm saying he's a model pedophile citizen. All we ask for pedophiles, just listen to the point. A model pedophile citizen. All we ask from pedophiles is you wait for them to be 18.
I just want to say this is a great segue into chapter 6 of Mark's book. You're wrong about everything. Continuing. Continue.
So all we ask for pedophiles is you wait for them to be 18. That's the rule in America. 18 and up is what you can have sex with.
That defeats the whole purpose of being a pedophile.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're going against every grain in your body. Do you know what I mean?
No, he's still allegedly fucking these young girls.
But he's waiting for them to be 18. Every single one in the sex cult is over 18. Charlemagne.
This girl graduated high school in 26.
I turned 18 in October of high school. All I'm trying to say is, he used to be banging these 15-year-olds. He wrote fucking age is nothing but a number or whatever like that. Man. Ain't nothing but a number. When Aaliyah was 15 or 16 years old, he has righted that wrong at least, and now had a sex cult of over 18-year-olds. Now, is the sex cult potentially wrong? It seems like it's fucking horrible. Is he a piece of shit? Yes. But you have to give credit where credit is due. He's no longer breaking the laws of pedophilia.
You want like a golf clap or something? Like I don't know. I don't know what you're expecting here.
Think about this. If every pedophile would just do 18 and up, wouldn't the world be a less pedophile-y place?
I think R. Kelly needs to read this chapter. You're wrong about everything, and he needs to look at the subtitle. Kill yourself. Okay, that's what R. Kelly needs to do. R. Kelly is a piece of shit. Yeah. He married Aaliyah when she was 15 and he was 28. He allegedly peed on that 14-year-old girl. And the only reason I'm saying allegedly is because even though we saw the video, guess what happened to him? He went to court and got found not guilty.
Wait, he got found not guilty for it?
Yes, he got found not guilty.
Oh, it's because the girl showed a fake ID or something.
No, the girl
like
wouldn't show up in court, and they couldn't like identify who the girl was. It was just all kind of bullshit. He didn't go to trial for 6.5 years.
Look, I'm not saying R. Kelly's not a piece of shit, a fucking weirdo, sexual deviant, and all in all, probably awful person. That being said,
and
if every pedophile would fuck 18 and over, we wouldn't have any kids getting fucked. That'd be a good situation.
Yeah.
All I'm saying. Why do I have to say it 10 fucking times?
They wouldn't be pedophiles. Listen, I would love for all pedophiles to not be pedophiles and fuck girls that are 18 and up.
It's like saying, like, the world would be a better place if all murderers just stopped killing people.
That's all I'm saying, guys. That's all I'm saying. So R. Kelly, stop being a pedophile. Yeah. He's a.
You can do it too, folks. Fuck those. If R. Kelly can do it, you can do it too.
Absolutely, that's a great point. All these other pedophiles that are still fucking these kids, we go, listen, you piece of shit. R. Kelly was able to commit.
He's still kind of a pedophile, bro. I'm gonna tell you about that 18 and up shit. 18 and up should be based on like a 10-year interval. And what I mean by that is,
like
28, he's like 18 is cool.
He's like pushing 50 now. Like how old? How old is he?
He's 50.
Yeah, he's 50. That's not cool.
50 and 18 is crazy.
That's
man.
not cool.
I'm 33. I'll probably fuck an 18-year-old this year. I'm not gonna lie, man. They just can't be in high school. They can't be in high school.
Be based off 10
if they're in college,
man.
come on, bro.
18 should be cool. It should be like you got to be 28. You can't be more than 10 years older than the 18.
Stop it. You have to look like an adult. That's what it is. There are 30-year-old Asian women that look 14. I'm not trying to fuck these girls, okay? They got no ass. They got no titties. They look 14-year-old boys, these Asian women, okay? I'm not going to have sex with them. But there are 19-year-old Brazilian Victoria's Secret models that are ready to get fucked yesterday.
Can you tell Andrew about the dangers of pure certainty? Could you please tell me?
Son, did y'all write this book together? How do you know every single page of this fucking book?
This book is for you, bro.
You listen.
I think I texted you and told
by
you
the end
to
of
read this.
By the end of this fucking interview, Charlamagne's gonna go, "You didn't write this book. I wrote this book." You're gonna go, "Okay, Charlamagne."
I'm like, oh, you're right. I think you're right, actually.
What are the dangers of pure certainty?
Pure certainty is so. It's basically, there's actually a bunch of research into like what makes people evil, like what makes people do bad shit. And the interesting thing is, like the conventional wisdom was that people do bad shit because like they feel bad about themselves or like they're really bummed out or whatever. And the truth is actually the opposite. People who do really bad shit, they actually feel really, really good about themselves. And that's actually kind of why they do it. So
that's why R. Kelly wrote age ain't nothing but a number.
And why he called himself the Pied Piper?
Pure certainty.
Yeah.
Yes,
it comes back to, it's this pure certainty in what you believe. And it comes back to like what we were talking about, how like, if you're not willing to be wrong about anything, then if somebody disagrees with you, then you're like, well, fuck this person. Like I can do whatever I want, and so, it's crazy. Like, if you look at people who are in jail for, like, murder or, like, really bad stuff, it's like, well, the guy had it coming. He did this to me, and so he deserved it. And, like, they're completely convinced.
Justified in this. Yeah. All dictators are like this.
Yeah, totally.
Sociopaths are absolutely, well, maybe sociopaths just don't feel empathy.
Narcissists, yeah.
But it's a way of justifying horrible behavior. Yeah. We had what's his face on last, Jordan Harbinger.
Jordan, yeah.
Ardeshon last week, and he said something really interesting. He's like, depressed people often have the most realistic view of themselves.
Yeah.
Right? And there is something to that. It's like you're not happy. You might be overly critical, but that overly critical view is way more realistic than this person who, what is it, feels, I don't know.
Feels like they the shit. But see, I kind of...
Overly secure.
Yeah, I'm in the gray area about that, though. Because I think, like, my father would always say, you're never as good as they say you are, you're never as bad as they say you are. And I believe that when it comes to yourself, too. Yeah. Like, you're never as bad as you think you are, but you're never as good as you think you are either.
Yeah. Which is, it's about being uncertain. And the whole chapter is about how, about half the chapters is just about like how bad we are at understanding what's true. Like we're all biased, we're all prejudiced, we all like are very poor at understanding information. We have bad memories, we're bad at predicting the future, we're bad at even knowing like how we feel at any given moment. And how that's important to remember, because the only way that you actually learn and grow is by admitting you're wrong.
Absolutely.
And if you're never willing to admit you're wrong, or if you're never willing to back down from any of your positions, then you're simply gonna stagnate. And And yeah, you're just going to become an asshole who's willing to take things out on other people.
And that's why I try not to knock anybody's POV about things. I will acknowledge that I think it's stupid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it could be something to it. Like I can't sit here and say, going back to what we talked about earlier, I can't say Jake Tapper is wrong. Because maybe a set of security did kill the police officer. Right. I can't say Linda Sarsour is wrong either, because maybe she didn't kill the police officer and she really is a political prisoner and escaped and exiled in Cuba. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and this comes back to what we were talking about, like political discourse, people not talking. Like people are getting so cemented in their views, you know, that it's causing a problem. Like we need people on both the right and the left to be like, hey, you know, this is how I feel about the situation, but I'm willing to be wrong. Like, tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. Like, but nobody's doing that anymore.
They can't do it because they have no confidence that we know the issues. Like, people vote tribally. So all I got to do is shit on your tribe.
Yeah.
And then you vote for me, and you shit on my tribe.
Yeah, and this is a fairly new thing that's happening. Like, you know, I think it's getting worse, and it is a problem.
I wonder if it's just more. I don't know if it's as new, because if you look even back in the day, what they would call, you know, radical Republicans, there was all these names that both groups would do.
Tea Party.
But the thing is that, like, back in the day, you know, so we always had the Soviet Union and the communists that we were freaked out against. Sure. That would bring us together. It's like, all right, I disagree with you, but you know, we're still Americans and we're not communists, so we got to come together. And as soon as that's gone, there's no external enemy anymore.
Yeah.
Everything's becoming divided among like class and racial and like political ideologies. You know, so it's like, you know, it's like, oh, well, you grew up in the South and you're black, so you don't understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know, and it's like
it's dismissive.
It's completely dismissive.
You need, for a cohesive republic, you need an external threat. Like, if you look at the groups...
Aliens, man.
Well, aliens unite...
aliens, bro. I'm telling you.
Aliens unite the whole world. Think about it. Every alien movie, what happens, right? Russia and the U.S. put their differences aside. Yeah. China put their differences aside, and they come together to fight the aliens. But within a country or within a culture, like if you look at Jews, for example, like Jews have experienced oppression throughout history. And that has created a very tight-knit cohesive group, because they have to be wary of all these people around them who are trying to kill them. When maybe the U.S. has become so impervious to threats that we're not even considering outside threats, and we're actually tearing ourselves from the inside out because we don't have anything to unite on. Yeah,
it's something I talk about in the book, that we're victims of our own success. That like the average American right now like has such like a simple and comfortable life, that we're like finding problems for ourselves, and we're inventing problems where they aren't necessarily there, and it's just driving us apart.
Yeah, I have restless leg syndrome.
By the way, crazy like tangent. I found out just the other day. You know, there's one free ambulance in all New York City.
The Jewish ambulance. Right?
It's the Jewish one. And they only pick up Jewish people.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That blew my mind.
Wait, what do you mean they only pick up Jewish people?
They got that in L.A. too. L.A. has it's a Jewish ambulance.
A Jewish ambulance. Yeah. And it just picks up Jewish people.
Yeah.
And it's free. It's the only free ambulance in all New York City.
But if you're not Jewish, it won't pick you up.
I guess they don't take your call.
You probably have the number if you're not.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's going to give you the number.
We have the number. I heard about that. It's so funny you brought that up, because I literally just heard about that.
But I think
yesterday.
Well,
I heard about it like yesterday too.
Chris is saying it's the Hasidic Jews that have
they organize it, but they will pick up any Jewish person.
They have it in L.A. They literally. I want to say Van told me about that, and then I looked it up. But they literally, I just read about this yesterday.
Interesting. Now, what are the ethics on that? I think
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean,
well, there's a in the United States, at least in terms of healthcare, there's a responsibility to save someone's life, even if they can or can't pay.
Yeah, I'm sure if they drove past a person bleeding on the sidewalk, they would stop and pick them up. But like,
listen, man, I'm not mad.
Chris says no. Chris doesn't think so.
People do anything.
Yeah, no, I mean,
until you need that ambulance.
Yeah, well, no, I just wish we had a black one. All right.
That's when you gotta pull your dick out and be like, "I'm circumcised, guys, please."
Hey, I'm shot, but you got that new Jay-Z 444. Throw that on way to the hospital, man. I would love. I don't have any problem with the way Jewish people do things.
No, I think the problem is that nobody else is doing it that way.
Go.
I say this all the time. Jews do what every oppressed minority group says they want to do, and then they get shit on them for it.
Yeah.
Like every oppressed minority group says, we got to come together. We got to start our own community. We got to support our own business. We got to hire each other and support her. Jews do it, and people go, they're so cliquey. They come together. They only support each other's business. That's what you said you were wanting to do.
It's a lot of hate on Jewish people, bro.
For doing the exact thing that everybody says they're trying to do.
Absolutely.
Like, how is the Jewish message any different than Killer Mike's message about the black community?
That's exactly what we're doing. Minister Farrakhan will tell you verbatim, do what Jewish people do.
Yeah.
He will say that
pretty simple,
verbatim.
And he's a
pretty
Muslim.
simple, guys.
He will say that
right there.
verbatim. Now, the failure is the way forward. That resonated with me because I've been fired from radio 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So people would think that, people gotta take a shit. Pee-pee. Okay. People would think that, being fired is a bad thing. And it is for some people.
Yeah,
but for me, every time I got fired, I ended up in a better position.
Sure. I mean, the whole point of that chapter is most people come from a mindset of like, I'm not going to do something unless I can do it right. And like, that sounds very nice and it sounds good. And it gives people some confidence to try to do things. But the point that I make is that any progress involves some degree of failure. Like, you've got to fuck something up to understand how to do it better. And it's actually like, if you just sit around waiting for like the perfect opportunity, in a lot of cases, you're just going to be sitting around forever.
So what does it say for this generation? Because we talked about earlier how some people don't even want to get graded, or they're giving out these participation trophies. Like, you'll never lose. How are you going to learn how to win?
Yeah, I think it's a huge problem. Like, if you read about it, like college campuses, they're reporting that like college kids, they're going to like school counselors and therapists with like, huge kind of emotional problems, like 50, 60% more than they used to, say, 10 or 20 years ago. And a lot of these quote unquote problems, it's stuff like, oh, well, my roommate is playing his music and he won't turn it down, and like they can't handle it and they like break into tears and run to the counselor's office. And what's happening is if you just shelter people and coddle them and protect them from feeling any sense of failure their whole life, then when that first sense of failure comes or that first conflict comes, they're going to be completely inequipped to handle it, Hold
on, Andrew's walking back in. We're talking to Mark Manson, author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Right now we're talking about failure as the way forward, and I was talking about how I got fired 4 times. And, it just goes back to what we talked about with the grading of the report cards. People don't want grades, and they're getting participation trophies. So I'm like, how will motherfuckers ever learn to win if they don't accept some losses every now and then?
Like, resilience, like mental resilience works the same way as a muscle. Like, if you never lift a weight in your life, if you never exercise in your life, and then suddenly a day comes where you got to like run somewhere or pick up something heavy, like you're not gonna be able to do it. So like, you go feel that pain in the gym, you like lift those weights, just like literally destroy your muscles so that they build back stronger. And like, the mind is the same way in many ways. Like, you need to emotionally and psychologically break yourself down periodically so that it grows back stronger. You become more resilient. You become more, more able to handle pressure, handle anxiety, things like that.
That's why most people who've been oppressed or marginalized in some way, they can thrive in any environment.
Yeah, look at black people in America.
Totally.
Yeah. It's the most resilient people in America.
Yeah.
Like,
or you like, I've heard from like a lot of business owners, like if a military guy comes back from Iraq or something, they're like, we hire them. Like, we don't even look at anything else. A lot of times we like immediately hire, because they will handle like, there's not a problem you can put in front of a guy who like just came out of a combat zone that he's like, he'll be cool under pressure. Like, he'll be able to like talk reasonably and like handle everything, and like, you can't find that anywhere else.
There's this is a horrible example after your military example, but they give player ratings on NBA 2K, the video game, to these NBA players, and they were telling them what they got. And Kyrie Irving, they're like, what do you think your rating is? And he's like, oh, it's got to be a 95 at least. I'm a cover athlete. It's got to be nothing. They're like, well, they gave you a 90. Now, at first he was upset.
Yeah.
Right. He goes, nah. That's crazy. That's absolutely. But you know what? This is good. I'm going to use it. By the end of the season, I'm going to be at a 93 at least. So his brain went from a little upset to, oh, this is a challenge. Oh, okay. Now it's on. Now we're going to do it. And I think that comes from somebody who has experienced some disappointment or has been yelled at by a coach.
And plus, he's a competitor.
He's a fucking competitor.
And to be at that level, you got to have a mindset. Like, you don't get to where he is without a mindset like that.
Facts.
Like if he had the opposite mindset of like, oh, screw you guys, the victimhood chic, right? Like, oh, screw you guys, like nobody respects me or gives me like what I deserve. Like he would have washed out years ago.
So true.
Chapter 8, one of my favorite chapters, simply because I got a text that week from one of my homegirls who simply told me, you don't owe anybody shit. Fuck. Okay, but chapter 8 is the importance of saying no.
Yeah.
And I keep telling y'all, 95% of whatever problems I feel like I'm having right now are based off how other people are feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or trying to do things for other people. So talk about the importance of saying no.
I talk about no is the most important word in any relationship, because a relationship is really only as strong as people's...
You know who else said that?
Who's that?
Cosby.
Somehow I doubt that.
You never actually heard the note. Okay, he just heard. Yeah, that's all. You never heard.
You just put them in a situation where they can't say no.
The body language of the women said no.
Yeah,
all right. Yeah. That's all.
Okay, so.
But yeah, it's the ability and willingness of each person in the relationship to say no to each other and respect that no, to be able to hear it and actually be like, all right, I understand, I respect that. You know, like that's a big sign of the healthiness of the relationship. A lot of people, they go in the relationships and they just want to make everybody happy all the time. Mm. And it's not only is that impossible, like shit always happens, but
that's my problem, bro.
Yeah, but it's like you actually create more problems when you're not willing to face that. And so it's really hard for a lot of people. It's like,
so how do we get there? How do we get there where we feel more comfortable saying no and feel more comfortable not doing things that we don't want to do?
I mean, I hate to give such a boring answer, but it's practice, like anything. And you know, you start with small things, you know. Somebody texts you and they're like, hey, you want to like come out and see this thing I did or whatever, and you're like, you know, I don't really want to, and like, so you just say no. You know, a lot of people, it's very hard for them to say no in those situations. You know, or somebody asks for a small favor and you're like, no, I'm busy right now. Like you start with the small stuff so that when something big happens and like somebody's really like violating your boundaries or disrespecting you in some way, like you're able to actually like stand up and be like, no.
Why do we feel guilty? We just want to be liked? Is that what
we want to help people?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's that too. I think it's two things. Number one, we want to help people, and we do want to be liked in a sense. Because I know for me, I don't ever want somebody to have a bad experience with me personally.
Right.
I don't give a fuck what you think social media. I don't give a fuck what you think about something you heard on the radio.
Right.
Yeah. But if you meet me in person, I don't want you to have a bad experience. I want you to be like, oh, he's a fucking asshole in person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I try to go out of my way to take a picture or whatever. How can I help you? I'm not taking your mixtape though. Fuck your dreams with that rap shit. When it comes to that rap shit, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about all that shit. We can talk about anything else other than your fucking rap career. Okay?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of it comes from, you know, like the way we grow up. So depending on like our family situation or the environment we grow up in, it's people pleasing, like making people around us happy all the time. It's a survival mechanism, you know, like it's a way for us to take care of ourselves when we're young and we're like dealing with some tough shit. The problem is that once you grow up, like it's not an effective way to manage your adult relationships. Like at some point as an adult, you have to like know the boundaries you're willing to like, you know, stop. And like tell people no, tell people like, sorry, I can't do that. Like I respect you, I appreciate you, but like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I feel I'm like overwhelmed with empathy at times for people. Like I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, especially if I like them. You know, like in relationships, it's really hard for me to break up. Like so hard. Like
yeah, absolutely. I mean, hurting people sucks.
Oh, dude,
it sucks.
How
man.
do you get better at hurting people?
Nobody likes it, but at the same time, it comes back to the values thing, right? Like. Yeah. What's your value? Is it making people feel good all the time? Or is it, you know, having like healthy, strong relationships?
And it's not selfish to make yourself happy first.
You have to make yourself happy.
For whatever reason, I always get a sense of guilt when I feel like I need to be happy. I need to be first.
Why do we feel bad about self-happiness? Where does that come from? What's the fucking etymology of
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, a lot of it, I don't know. Like, not to go to Dr. Phil. I mean,
Dr. Phil.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it,
Mark.
Yeah, a lot of it it comes back to childhood stuff, you know, and it could be anything. It could be the way that our parents were with us. It could be the way our friends were with us. But it's a very common thing for people who, like I said, it's a survival strategy that we adopt of like, okay, I'm a piece of shit, but if I make everybody happy around me, then they'll never notice, or they'll treat me well despite that. And so I just have to keep that going as long as possible. And the truth is to have any healthy relationship, you have to be healthy yourself first. So like you can't have a stable relationship without treating yourself well first. Because if you treat yourself like crap to try to make somebody else happy,
you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah, you make yourself miserable, and then you create this precedent of like constantly like giving yourself up for this other person, and then and then it causes problems for them because it starts making them feel entitled to your time and your emotions.
That's why I always say your first, last, and best love is self-love. Yeah. You can't love anybody else until you truly love yourself.
Yeah, it's proportional. Like it's like a mirror, right? Like it's the quality of your relationship is the same as the quality of your relationship with yourself.
So what are you doing to love yourself?
Masturbating.
Yeah, a lot of jerking off.
Do you basket weave? Do you churn the butter? What is your technique?
I'm gonna tell you what I'm really doing. I'm not doing anything that remotely makes me feel uncomfortable or brings me any type of displeasure. I just won't do it. I don't give a fuck what it is. I'm not coming. I'm not gonna. I don't mean coming like nothing, but I'm not. I'm not fucking attending. You know what I'm saying? Your event just because you want me to come. I'm not picking up the phone just because you want me to pick up the phone. I'm not talking about business when I don't feel like talking about business. I'm just simply, truly doing what the fuck I want to do.
Yeah,
that's all I'm doing at this point in my life, at this point in my career, everything. If I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people one way to think about it is a lot of people approach relationships or situations like, I need to find ways that other people win. Like I need to like make other people feel better all the time. Or some people who are like really selfish, they approach situations like what's going to make me feel good, and they don't really care about the other person. The trick is to find only like win-win situations.
How do they win and I win in the same?
Where both of us win. Where it's like it's good for both of us, and we both respect that it needs to be good for both of us. You know?
Fuck, man, that shit is hard, bro.
That's difficult.
Yeah.
To find a win-win situation.
It's hard. It requires saying no. It requires like telling people like, hey, that's not win-win for me, so like I don't think it makes sense. And then if they like blow up and flip out, then it sucks, but you know that like that's probably not going to be a good situation for you.
Like if this guy I gave my number to, you know, I don't even remember when, but he keeps sending me like,
his mixtapes?
Yes. He's got like an artist. I don't know if it's his son or somebody, but it's just like his artist. He wants me to post about him and tweet about him. I'm like, first of all, number one, I don't know you. And number two, dude ain't that hot. And I keep trying to have these conversations with him, but he's so goddamn persistent. Yeah. He told me the other day, just post that and watch what happens. What do you mean? What the fuck are you talking? What do you mean? Just like my Twitter just I'm gonna be so popping because I posted you. You know what I mean? Like just post it and watch what happens. Like my life is gonna miraculously be so much greater because I posted you. Like no, like it's just.
You need to stop telling
Wait, what?
Here go Paige who don't suck. Here go Paige who don't suck dick, telling me that I need to tell people to stop having a DJ Khaled level of annoyance. Paige is absolutely right, but don't annoy me about fucking mixtapes because I already told you I don't fucking care about your rap career.
Dude, one of the best things I ever did. So I have like a really popular blog. Like I get hundreds of emails every day, and one of the best things
a blog you got. That's what I knew it was something.
Yeah,
I know you did it. I know you did. I saw that right.
Yeah.
I saw right through that shit.
One of the best things I ever did is I put. Like I started losing my mind because I got so many emails, and it was the same thing. People asking for stuff, sending me crap, like, and I just put a list of guidelines, and I said, look, if you send any of these emails, I'm never going to respond. And it was like sales pitches. You want me to look at your writing.
Yes.
You know, you want me to like, you know, send an email to a friend of yours because they're a big fan or whatever. You know, like it's like people who send their life stories. They send these like, you know, 8-page emails about like, you know, some girl who broke their heart. Mm-hmm. I told him, I was like, if you want to ask a question, ask it in one paragraph. If you want to tell me something, get to the point, you know, like don't try to sell me anything. And my God, it made my life so much easier. And nobody complained. You know, everybody was like, yeah, Mark's a busy guy. Like he gets a lot of emails. you know, so I should respect his time. But it's like, it required me stepping out and asking for that, you know, like, hey guys.
You had to say no.
Yeah, I can't deal with like all the crap that people want from me. So these are the rules.
Dude, that's so true, man. And it's almost like a lot of times they just want a reaction.
Yeah.
A lot of times listening to the mixtape isn't as important to them as just having a conversation.
The fact that you listened to it, or like just the fact that you responded.
Yeah.
And that's the dumbest shit. Honest, this dude wants me to post a video of his son. His son is at like a cookout with a microphone that you can barely hear.
No.
And it's like 30 seconds wrong. It's not even dope.
No.
It's like, what is this going to do for you? It's not going to do anything for you, bro.
Comes back to the certainty thing, man. This guy in his head, he's like, man, my son, he's like the next R. Kelly, you know?
Yo. All right, let's pay these bills, man. This is actually good that we're talking about this right now, because today's episode of Brilliant Idiots is brought to you by Talkspace.
Yes.
Don't be afraid of experiencing the relief that comes with therapy. It can seem daunting to sit in an office and unpack yourself to a stranger. So let's start small. Let's start with Talkspace. I'm telling you, I've been using this. I definitely tried it out as their new sponsor. I think it's absolutely excellent. A lot of these questions, I also go to regular therapy, so I'm big into therapy. Both of my parents are going to therapy. It was very normal, at least in my family, but I know a lot of people's families is kind of shunned.
Therapy's great, man.
Dude, it's
everybody should do it. Everybody should
just talk. It's amazing. Like, your knee hurts, you go to a doctor for your knee. Your head hurts, you don't go to a doctor for your head. It's the most peculiar thing. Like, there are things in your body that you could do to make yourself feel better. If anybody's willing to meditate and do anything like that, you can talk to a stranger and they'll have perspective. Like, what I'm asking you here are the same things that I've been asking my therapist.
Yeah.
Or the same things I've been asking the guy at Talkspace. I literally, okay, how do I not care as much about people's opinions? Or how do I say no to people? Or how do I not worry about hurting someone's feeling? Like, all these things are questions. I swear to God, my therapist said the same thing. What was the relationship with your parents?
Yeah.
What were these connections? Were you worried about? Were you trying to make them feel better? So honestly, check out Talkspace. It's 100% confidential. You can remain completely anonymous, and if you want to. And remember, for as little as $32 a week, it's absolutely nothing. My therapist cost me $225 for an hour or something like that. So this is an incredible bargain. So you sign up, you learn more, go to Talkspace.com/idiots. And as a special offer for our listeners, you can use the coupon IDIOTS to get $30 off your first month and show your support for this podcast. Join over 500,000 users who have experienced the relief of being able to talk to a therapist at their discretion and on their own time. That's Talkspace.com/IDIOTS, and the coupon code is IDIOTS in the Talkspace app, okay? Talkspace, therapy for how we live today.
Okay, we're talking to Mark Manson, author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and we're on the final chapter of his book. This is the chapter that messed me up. It's titled, And Then You Die. And this is where you talk about your friend who you had literally just spoken to.
Yeah.
And then he went... But I forgot how he died.
So we were at a party out by a lake, and there was like a small cliff, maybe 15 feet high. And I just asked him, hey, I'm going to get some food. You want something? A bunch of people were jumping off this little cliff. And he said no. And then I said, okay, well, where will I find you? And he was drunk and just joking around. He was like, seek the truth for yourself and I will meet you there. And then as soon as I went up to the house, he jumped off the cliff, drowned, and died. Like,
because he wanted to go in the lake.
Yeah, he was jumping. Yeah,
he didn't kill himself.
Yeah, a bunch of people were jumping off the cliff into the water. I should have mentioned that. And so he jumped, and apparently like his legs cramped up. He was drunk and high, and he just went under. And it was nighttime, so nobody could see where he was. Yeah,
but you were sad about it. But you said you found life in his death, so to speak?
So, yeah, it really fucked me up. I mean, I spent most of that summer, like, really depressed. I mean, I've gone through periods where I've been kind of depressed before, but, like, that's the one period in my life where, like, it was dark. I mean, like, everything seemed pointless and hopeless, and, like, you know, it really did a number on me. But the interesting thing was, you know, I was pretty young at the time. I was 19 years old. I grew up, like, I was a rich white kid. I was a stoner. I was, like, like all the shit we're talking about here, like I was that when I was young. Like I was petulant and selfish.
Pedophile.
Rapist.
When you were a kid, you were fucking kids.
Came, peed, then came again.
There you go.
And like that was just like, it wasn't even a slap. I mean, it was a right hook in the face, you know? And it was the first time that I kind of realized just how fragile my own life was. I mean, life in general, but also my own, and just like how unappreciative of everything I had always been. And it woke some stuff up in me. Like it was like, wow, this is life is finite. I could die tomorrow. It could have been me jumping off that cliff. What the hell am I going to do with myself? You know? And it really like woke a lot of stuff up in me.
You and my guy Ryan Holiday, and I even came in here and talked about it, and talked about it on my morning show. I actually asked Malcolm Gladwell about it. Y'all made me start wondering if I'm not questioning my own mortality enough.
Yeah.
Like, is this something I really should be thinking about? Like, should I be thinking about my death?
Absolutely, man.
I mean, Gladwell says no. He said I should be thinking about life and living and making the world a better place.
Yeah, but proximity to death is what makes you live.
Yeah,
I mean, you
can't think about one without the other. You know, and like we've been talking about values today. Like the whole book is about values, and kind of what I hit people with at the end is I said the only way to truly know if something's valuable or not is to think about dying. You know, there's all those cliches about like nobody ever wished they worked more on their deathbed, or you know, the regrets people have, they didn't fix their relationship with their family member, things like that. Like those things exist for a reason. Like those are common experiences for a reason, and it's because they never had that perspective until they were literally about to die. And there's a bunch of people who I know personally and who I've talked to through email now from the book, like cancer survivors and things like that. Like they've told me they're like, this is actually, I'll tell you another story related to this. So I told you earlier, like I went to like 5 or 6 publishers. Some of the meetings went well, some of them didn't go well. There were a couple editors that I really liked, who I kind of thought they like understood what I was trying to go for with the book. I went into the meeting with my editor at Harper, and the very first thing he said, I'm a cancer survivor. It's the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, and I want to publish this book. And like I was instantly sold. I was like, this guy gets, not only does this guy get it, he gets it on like the deepest level.
He read that chapter?
He read the book proposal.
Okay, gotcha.
And so he just immediately understood, you know?
So it's not, because, my whole thought process is why stress over something you can't control? But it's not necessarily stressing over the fact you're going to die one day. Just knowing you're going to die, so make the most of life or enjoy life while you got it.
It comes back to meaning, right? You know, so we were talking about bad values. Like if you go bang 100, 200 girls or whatever.
That's
like,
the way to go, by the way.
Yeah.
24 hours to live.
Death by pussy, right?
Yeah.
Did you see there was a thing on Reddit like a couple of years ago? It was so funny. It was a guy who apparently he wanted to commit suicide, and he had like a couple $1,000s left, and he was like, well, before I do it, I'm going to drive to Mexico. I'm going to spend all my money on cocaine and hookers, and then I'll do it. And so he went down there and just like had an entire week of like cocaine and hookers. And then he like called his sister and was like, I changed my mind. I want to live.
Goddamn right. I'm going to be a coke addict and fuck this pussy. That's great. I'm with it.
Not that I'm recommending people do that, but
it's better than death.
It basically is better than death. It's a lot to live for.
Yeah, there are good things in life. But back to
don't kill yourself with money in the bank. That's stupid.
Yeah, you might as well spend it, right?
If you got 20 grand in the bank.
You got a will.
Yeah, if you got no kids and you got money in the bank, at least spend that shit and then kill yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally. Yeah. But it gets back to the point that like you need to think about thinking about your own death clarifies what the meaning of your life is. Like what are you doing? What's the purpose of what you're doing? You know, it's like if you got hit by a bus this afternoon after you leave the studio, you know, it's what are you leaving behind?
Yep.
Like what are
fire tweets?
Yeah.
All right, some of the best tweets that we've seen in the
some
past
really
decade.
some really incriminating group texts.
Nah, I'm with you though. Like,
Yeah,
what
I
he's
mean,
saying
it's important to think about.
What
that
would you miss this? Right? Like you're doing some activity and you're like, if I died, would I regret not being able to do more of this?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean,
or was it worth it?
Yeah.
You know, like was it worth everything you did? You know,
and do things in life that are bigger than you. Like this book is bigger than you.
Yeah,
Or
totally.
my book is bigger than me. Like this will be here 20 years, 30 years from now. Long after we're gone, somebody can pick this up and read about what our thoughts were at this moment.
Absolutely. You know, and Steve Jobs talked about it. He's got a famous speech where he said that every morning he would look in the mirror and say, like, if I die today, would I be happy with like what I'm doing? Or I think it was, if this was my last day to live,
Would I want to do it?
would I still do it? And he said that anytime
That's great.
he would say no frequently, like a bunch of days in a row, he would like sit down and be like, all right, I really need to change something in my life. I think death just brings clarity to what matters, you know? So we were joking about pussy, like you can't take the pussy with you. Like a year later, I mean, you forget who half the girls are. Like it doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely. Ghost on your dick.
Yeah, you can't take, I like that. You can't take the money with you. So it doesn't really mean, like, what are you leaving behind? Like, what are the relationships you're leaving behind? What's the legacy you're leaving behind? You know, who are the people you affected? What did you add to the world? What did you change?
We should also clarify that you got tons of pussy before you were married.
Yeah. Well,
So you're not talking about, we're not talking from the perspective of a
I
guy
don't want
who
to be the
never
guy
got
who's like,
pussy.
well, yeah, you know.
But you know, my point is, for anybody who's like, well, this guy never got no pussy, that's why he's talking about pussy ain't important.
No, I was,
you know what I mean?
I was a total, like most of my 20s, I was a total man whore.
There you
and it was a lot of the inspiration of this book came from that. Like all this stuff about values, you know, like I spent so much time and energy trying to bang as many girls as possible that when I got to my late 20s, I kind of looked back and I was like, what the hell was that for?
Yeah,
like,
man.
why?
Yeah.
Were you validating yourself through these women?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of insecurity behind it.
I'm funny if she fucks me. I'm interesting if she fucks me. I'm
it was
smart if she fucks me.
There was a lot of, there were mommy issues. There's a deep rabbit hole there.
I got a lot of moment of clarity getting them old school HIV tests, boy. Like when you was a man whore and you had to get them tests, you had to wait 2 weeks for. Woo! That's like getting close to death because you don't know.
You start questioning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah.
So wait, what did you do to break out of that? You needed to sleep with women to feel good about yourself. How did you change that?
I just started to realize that it was really unhealthy and it was damaging me. I mean, the big thing, honestly, the biggest thing that happened was just age and time. Like, you know, because when I was younger and I was sleeping with all these girls, I thought I was like, man, we're having all these like awesome experiences together and all these great memories. And oh yeah, I remember this girl from this city and, you know, like text her sometimes. And, you know, 5-6 years went by and not only did I lose touch with like every single girl, but like my friends around me, they're going off and getting married and having kids. And I'm sitting there like, I don't even remember half the girls I slept with. I probably spent like tens of thousands of dollars at like clubs and shit. You know, like it was just unhealthy. Like it was unhealthy for my social life. It was unhealthy for me physically. And I was like, why am I doing this? This is so stupid.
That's what's so scary about when you say you think about death all the time, like if you live every day like it's your last, you'll probably end up doing some unhealthy shit.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, so it's got to be like a balance. Like, how often should you think about it?
I mean, I think it's not necessarily like, is this my last day to live? But I think it's worthwhile to wonder, you know, if I die young, you know. Like if I die when I'm like 45, 50, you know, what, say 10 years from now, I know I'm going to die. Like what would I do? Would I do something differently? Is there something I would change in my career or whatever? Is there something I would change in my relationships? You know, like, there are a lot of people that, you know, so for like, there are people in my family that, you know, they stop talking to each other. And, you know, when the older person in the family was on his deathbed, you know, this person related to him like flew there, and it was the first time she saw him in like 16 years or something crazy, you know? And I remember just thinking like what a waste, you know? Like 16 years not talking, and it was something stupid, you know? They would just bicker at each other. And so stuff like that, like it's not worth holding on to, things like that. You know, I've gone through periods with my father. Like I would like
make amends, Charlemagne.
Yeah, like I would be pissed at my dad for like a year at a time. I wouldn't talk to him, and then like once I started, like a couple years ago, I was like, that's dumb. You know, like there's got to be a better way to do this. You don't have to like. There needs to be some sort of relationship. You know, maybe I need to manage it differently or manage it better, but I can't just like not talk to the guy.
Yeah. See, I would justify it another way. I'd be like, well, see, I wasn't talking to him, but he died. The reason he died because he did me wrong. Or he died because he wasn't speaking to me. You know what I'm saying? That's what he get for being a dickhead. You know what I'm saying? If he wasn't being a dickhead, then I'd have been talking to him and he wouldn't have died. This is what happens when you don't talk to me.
So it's his, it's his fault.
This is your certainty. What is it? Like,
it's the pure certainty.
This guy died because he was a jerk to me.
Yeah, he deserved it.
Nah, Mark, I think you're absolutely right. Where can they find you, Mark?
MarkManson.net, and then the book is available everywhere.
It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. You can't miss it. It's bright orange. It's a great read. It's a quick read, actually, too. I mean, I read it in like a week, but it's a good book that you can always go back and reference as well. Mark, thank you, man, for coming on the podcast, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much, man, thank you so much.
And Ryan Holiday's been singing your praises for the longest, but I was hating on you because I had the same concept.
I understand.
But you wrote this much better than I would have.
I had friends who sent me videos of you like, what the fuck, man? This is my book title, man. This fucking guy.
I will say you wrote this much better than I would have, though. Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
It was meant for you to write.
Thank you.
But as always, if you listen to this podcast, you think we're smart, you think we're intelligent, you think we're brilliant, you're absolutely right. But if you listen to this podcast and think we're just a couple idiots who don't know shit, you're absolutely right too. It's the Brilliant Idiots Podcast. Thank you for listening.
And our post roll, we want to just, thank again St. Martin's Press, the publisher of The Cartel 7, for supporting this week's podcast. The Cartel 7 is the new novel in the Cartel series from the New York Times best-selling authors Ashley Antoinette and Jaquavis Coleman. After the tragic end to the Cartel's reign, Carter is forced into isolation to evade the law. But while he may have been taken down, he'll never be out of the game. Read The Cartel 7 and find out why Time Magazine calls Ashley and Jaquavis the most successful